Oh no, we forgot the cold open. This is so embarrassing.
Oh, if only there were 3 guys in snowsuits
who
that
all
could
vary in
save
height
us.
very radically.
Who's like the most obviously different. This is embarrassing. Hold on. Oh my god. Somebody's here handing me a script. If only there were 3 super hot, really cool guys in snowsuits that could save us. Oh wait, there are. And now they're waving.
Thanks, snowsuit guys. Oh wait, they seem mad that I called them the snowsuit. Actually, only one of them seems mad.
Yeah, I think just one of them's mad.
Just
I don't know.
the middle height one.
You guys can talk.
Yeah, you want to say anything? Hey guys, I'm Jason Dolly.
Hey guys, it's me, Greg from Secession. And me, Luke Benward, but small. This is our best cologne yet. Thanks, snowsuit guys.
See, my initial plan for this was just like, well, you'll just cut to some place in the future that will come back from the past. So here's an element from an hour in of the podcast. It's only 1 second long, so you better enjoy it. Alright, that was pretty funny, not gonna lie. Good call on that one, time travelers.
Yeah, thanks for definitely not creating more work for me.
Have we done the kazoo yet?
What? We will now. Welcome, everybody, to the DCOM Duo podcast.
I'm BenG.
I'm Kelsey.
We're the DCOM Duo
podcast.
Yes. Today we're talking about Minutemen.
It's about the time.
It's your favorite DCOM's favorite DCOM.
So true. I love this movie. I grew up loving this movie, and I was right.
This is a good litmus test for DCOM fans to me. For people around my age, at least. If you know of Minutemen, most people love Minutemen.
Yeah.
And it's like a great barometer for people when I'm talking about with random. If I'm like, oh, you just maybe know the classics or you don't really know what DCOM is. But if they know Minutemen, if Minutemen comes out of their mouth, I'm like, I can get deeper into conversation with you. You got class.
You got class.
You got style.
They cooked with this one. I'm not going to lie. And it's not that it wasn't unpopular. Did I say that right? It wasn't unpopular.
It was popular. It just wasn't enough. A major hit.
Right. But they would re-air it, and it was popular enough, but I wish it was a little bigger because I think it deserves its flowers. Minutemen rules.
Yeah. This is, in what many people consider a golden age of DCOMs, just one of the alsos.
Yeah, it was right in there.
And Minuteman was also around here. Oh, killing it.
Killing it. For real.
So, shout out Minutemen.
Hell yeah, we're going to spend at least an hour talking about it. Probably more.
Probably like, I mean, you can see the time. We can't.
We don't. We're not time travelers. Actually, we are. We're going to spend insert amount of time talking about
You're giving yourself a lot of work on this. But to be fair, it'll be pretty fun.
An hour and a half. 2 hours. Those are the only 2 I'm going to pre-record. Help myself out.
1 hour, 44 minutes, and 37 seconds.
It's definitely that one.
You have to remember to factor in the time it takes to say it.
Okay, cool. Anyway, before we talk about Minutemen more, I guess we have fan mail.
Yeah. You want to tell us about it?
Our friend Ben, who has been on the podcast multiple times before.
Different from the other Ben, who's also been on the podcast multiple times before, and me, the Ben who's not been on every podcast.
Yeah, it's the Ben that guest starred on Kim Possible and Prom Pact. I think those are the 2 that he did. Right?
Sounds right to me.
Sounds right to me. He texted us, Turtle. So thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. We appreciate
it. If you have fan mail, if you have thoughts, if you
don't have our phone numbers.
Yeah, if you want to email us and let us know your thoughts on any DCOM, including Minutemen, You can email us at the DCOMduo@gmail.com.
Yeah. That's the DCOMduo@gmail.com. And I can tell you from my time traveling experience, we've gotten a lot of fan mail.
Yeah, in the next 2 days, because that's as far as you can travel. It's
and only backwards.
Oh, you can't go forward. They never even tried.
Dang. I think there is some. I might be. There's like a one very minor ways time travel is like scientifically possible, like with wormholes and stuff. I don't know enough science to be able to tell all this, but I feel like you can go one way but not the other.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You don't know which way.
I can't remember. I feel like you can go backwards in time, but there's no way to go forward under the current knowledge of like how wormholes would be, and also it's very theoretical because a lot of things would have to be set up. But also, I could just be spitting BS. I really am not researched.
We're actually going forward in time right now. Every second.
Holy shit. We are time travelers. All right. You want to do the factos?
No, you did the factos.
Okay. I meant like jumping into the factos.
Oh, you were like, do you want to talk about the factos? I'm like, you're the one who did the work. Like, you should.
I forgot. I time traveled back and did the work right after saying that sentence when I realized we didn't have the factos done.
And since I didn't know about it, I just thought they were there the whole time.
We're really gonna run this joke. We've already ran it into the ground. Just get prepared.
We're already being like super uninteresting and not entertaining, but we're here.
This podcast is for us. It ain't for y'all. Minutemen released January 25th, 2008. Cool. It was the 71st DCOM.
Cool.
So yeah, pretty close to High School Musical 2, which we just talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah. The director is someone we've already talked about before, being Lev L. Spiro. Yeah, we already talked about him because he did Wizards of Waverly Place, the movie.
Cool.
Yeah. So this and Wizards are his only DCOM, so strong track record. Very high average, honestly. Because Wizards is not bad.
No, Wizards not bad.
He got a Directors Guild Association nomination for this film. Didn't win it, but he also won an Emmy for the Wizards movie. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Other than that, he's just like a TV show director. He's done episodes of big shows like Modern Family, Arrested Development, Ugly Betty, Gilmore Girls, The OC. I cut out a lot of shows that people have heard of, but it's just like he's done one or two of episodes of a lot of TV shows.
Cool.
And then what I found interesting is he's married to Melissa Rosenberg. You know who that is?
I see your note.
Yeah, you didn't know it off the top of your head?
No.
Shame on you. That's the head screenwriter for all the Twilight films. You love those. You watched them all like 20 times.
Yeah, that's probably true. I didn't know who wrote them.
Yeah, the wife of the director of Minutemen.
Cool.
So, yeah, 2008 was a loaded year. Now for the cast. Starring in this film is an absolute DCOM legend, absolute Disney Channel legend, Jason Dolly. He plays Virgil. He's probably best remembered for being PJ on Good Luck Charlie. He's also Newton coring the house.
Yeah, I was gonna say like no DCOM, but I forget that like his main thing was Good Luck Charlie. I just didn't really watch a lot of Good Luck Charlie, but he definitely was in that as like his primary thing. But he's in multiple DCOMs. Yeah.
He's in Hatching Pete, main character there. Read and Weep, not the main character.
But the main love interest.
Yeah. And then Good Luck Charlie, It's Christmas.
Right, so he's been in 4 DCOMs.
4 completely distinct DCOMs, which is a rarity, especially for male actors.
Yeah. He was riding around those DCOMs. He's a good DCOM actor, I would say.
He has done very, very little outside of the Disney Channel.
Yeah, I like haven't heard of anything he's done.
Which is both kind of surprising just for how well utilized he was on the Disney Channel and how he never felt like a weak link. But also I kind of get it because I also feel like you used him to his peak potential on the Disney Channel. I'm not sure there's any more Jason Dolly like we haven't explored.
Maybe he was just done.
Maybe he was.
Just like kind of Bridget Medler was like, I'm done, you know?
Yeah. As Charlie, is Luke Benward.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Kelsey's crush.
I love him. He's my DCOM crush for sure. Not in this movie. This movie, he is a child.
In this movie, he's very much a child.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's a cute kid, but not like DCOM crush worthy, you know? It's his other DCOMs, which you can talk about.
Yeah. We already discussed him in Girl vs. Monster.
Mm-hmm.
He's also in Cloud 9.
Hell yeah.
He also had a recurring Good Luck Charlie role.
Yes, he was one of the boyfriends.
Yeah.
In Good Luck Charlie. The one, from what I've heard, again, I didn't watch very much, but I've watched videos about it. The one people were rooting for was Luke Benward. He was like the southern bug exterminator guy.
I don't know Good Luck Charlie well enough, but that makes enough sense. The dad was an exterminator.
Yeah, he like worked at the company. Yeah.
He also had notable roles in Because of Winn-Dixie, Dumplin', and How to Eat Fried Worms.
Hell yeah.
Among other things. And then to ruin Kelsey's dreams, he's been together for 5 years with Ariel Winter, who is the actress for Alex in Modern Family, among other things.
That's so cool, though, because we just started watching Modern Family because I never watched it before. BenG had watched it before. So I know who Alex is. And I'm seeing her in kid form, and I just saw Luke Benward in kid form.
Yeah.
Kid form.
Kid
it's
form.
Like, you know,
it's like they're Transformers.
The thing you say, you know, when someone is a kid, you're in kid form. So I've seen them like probably at roughly the same age acting in different things. And now they're like together. They're not married. They're just together.
Mm-hmm. They're very long-term committed, but I couldn't find anything saying they're married or engaged.
Okay. Well, good for them. I hope it works out for them. I hope that they're happy.
Yeah. Playing the role of Zeke. Okay, we normally on this talk about a lot of kid actors who've done very little, like small things after like their DCOM extravaganza. Eventually we'll talk about someone like Austin Butler who's in a similar frame to this.
Where it's like, if you had asked us a few years ago, we would have been like, oh, they haven't done much, but actually now they have.
Yeah. So this is what's fun about this. We get to talk about Nicholas Braun, who is now genuinely a big deal actor.
Most people
very
will
seriously.
Yeah, most people will like know kind of who that is. Maybe not the name, but like the face. Yeah. Or we'll just say he's in Succession. Like a lot of people have watched Succession.
It's a very popular show, very well respected and reviewed show. He himself got 3 Emmy nominations for it.
That's great. That's so cool. I've only watched like 4 episodes of Succession because everyone says it's amazing, and I tried to get into it and I just couldn't get into it. So I saw him in Succession. He's in like the first episodes, and it's interesting to me. Like he must become a big role more than what I've seen from him. Like he was there, but I bet he does so much more. Mm-hmm. And I kind of want to keep watching just to see him.
I will say this: I feel like even watching this movie, Zeke is really such a minor role in this script, and I felt like anytime Nicholas Braun said a line, it was funny.
I thought he did great.
I thought he did great. I feel like I completely understand watching this movie why he was the one to take off.
Yeah, like there's just something about his presence on screen, and like he's just a super tall, kind of brooding guy in this movie, and it just always worked, and I always wanted to see more of him in this movie.
He's a very fun to watch actor.
Yeah. He's also in Sky High, which is a very different character. He's the kid that glows in that movie, who's like super dorky and like trying to be cool all the time. It's like so different, and it shows you the range.
Mm-hmm. He's also in Princess Protection Program.
Was he like the friend?
I genuinely don't remember what his role was, but I found that. And yeah, Sky High is not a DCOM under our definitions, under pretty much any definition, but a lot of people think it was because it played on Disney Channel a lot.
Yeah, he played Ed. I think that's like the friend that has the video camera. So he's like the main like friend. I don't remember if he's really a love interest or not in Princess Protection Program. That's crazy.
Yeah. Nicholas Braun has had a lot of notable film credits. Some stuff include Perks of Being a Wallflower, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, Zola, Dream Scenario, and most recently Saturday Night.
Yep.
Yeah, he played both Jim Henson and Andy Kaufman.
That's so crazy that he played both of them. We just saw Saturday Night because it came out very recently.
Yeah.
I can't believe he played both. He did such a good job as both. And the other guy, the comedian guy, did the "Here I Come to Save the Day," which we also watched the first episode of Saturday Night Live to prepare, and that was like our favorite part of the episode, and they put it in the movie, and it was Nicholas Braun doing it, and it was so fun.
It's a fun time.
So shout out Nicholas Braun for like making it and being a good actor.
He's just like essentially an A-lister now.
That's
in everything but name recognition. Mm-hmm. He's gotten all the credit you need.
He'll get there.
And it's interesting. I also feel like a lot of people we've talked about, like, wow, we're talking about them in the peak of their career. All the people I feel like we've been doing that for has been like music, like Sabrina Carpenter.
Right.
This is someone who's like, no, they're just a serious actor. Mm-hmm. And it's going very well for them.
He was killing it as a kid. He didn't have that many roles, but the roles he did have, I feel like he was killing it. And now he's made it. He's in Succession. He's so good.
Yeah. Moving on. Playing Stephanie is Chelsea Staub, who had notable roles in Jonas, Fishhooks, the TV shows, and also was in Starstruck.
Yeah. She was in Starstruck.
Yeah.
She was the bitchy celebrity girlfriend in Starstruck.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
She had a main role in Freeform's Baby Daddy, and she was also in the 2007 Bratz film.
Cool.
Pretty fun. She had various other TV credits. Nothing, like, just what you would expect from an average actor. Yeah. And she got a 3rd place finish on Dancing with the Stars.
Cool.
So fun. Yeah. Playing Vice Principal Tolkien is J.P. Mano.
I definitely recognized him.
Yeah. He's had several Disney Channel roles. He was the caveman and the vice principal in Phil of the Future.
Yep, that's where I recognize him from. I grew up watching Phil of the Future.
He played Cusco in The Emperor's New School.
The show. Yeah.
Not the film.
No, that was a different actor. I don't remember who. It was David Spade.
Okay. Fair enough.
David Spade was in the movie, and then I guess this guy took over the TV show because, were they going to hire David Spade for the TV show that aired at like 6 a.m. or whatever?
He was also Stan the Android in Aaron Stone. That was a Disney XD show. I never knew about it.
Okay.
Dude has hundreds of other credits spanning small film and TV roles. He has like recurring bits in Community, Veep, CSI Vegas, among others.
He was in Community?
Yeah, I think it's because I can't remember this explicitly. I think he's like a fake dean.
Okay.
Where he does, because you look at him in this one, he looks like the dean of Community.
I'm a peanut bar and I'm here to say he looks like that guy.
But I don't vividly remember that.
For the record, Benji's watched Community and I've only seen a couple episodes.
Yeah. So I'll talk about my TV shows today. Normally I'm like, Grey's Anatomy, Days of Our Lives.
For me, now we're to say, hey, Community.
Playing Derek, the football player, is Stephen R. McQueen.
Ooh, McQueen.
Yeah. His grandpa was former, like, highest paid actor of all time, Steve McQueen. Like, one of the biggest names in film history. So that's something. His biological dad was Chad McQueen, which is just one of Steve McQueen's son, who is also an actor, but also a famous race car driver. Side note, I'm pretty sure that's where they get the McQueen from Lightning McQueen.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. His stepfather was a Hockey Hall of Famer.
Okay, so Nepo baby.
Yeah. And then his second cousins. I'm leaving out stuff about this. This was the craziest stuff in my research. He is second cousins with Enrique Iglesias and the entire Iglesias family, who's like,
that's crazy,
a bunch of super successful musicians. So yeah, extreme Nepo baby. He's probably best known for playing Jeremy Gilbert on The Vampire Diaries.
Okay.
It's like a main role.
I never watched The Vampire Diaries.
I've also not. He was also a main role on Chicago Fire, and that crossover to the other Chicago shows.
I feel like it would be so me to watch the Chicago shows. Maybe in another life I watched all the Chicago shows, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and I watched Grey's Anatomy instead. So
yeah, you're in the Shondaverse, not the Chicago verse.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then finally, we have playing Jeanette, Kara Crane, who really has done nothing much other than Minutemen. When we were watching this film, I'm like, oh, shoot, I didn't write about Jeanette's character. She's definitely too big. I need to write something. I look on her IMDb and Wikipedia, and it's just like not much other than Minutemen.
Dang. I thought she
did perfectly fine. I felt like she did good.
She was cute in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the success in this film is the fact that the director is taking a good script and making it well.
That's definitely what I have to praise the most about this film is the script and the
script's
writing.
Really good, and
it's actually really tight.
I mean, you get the problem with you get every time travel where there's some plot holes, but honestly, they limited it to the minimum.
They did limit the time travel plot holes for the most part. Like, it's always going to be a little confusing with time travel. Of like, wait, how does that work? But for the most part, they like wrap things up really nicely.
Yeah. All right. So some fun facts. First, I just like to mention this because we very rarely get to know this knowledge. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not often that public. The budget for this film was $5 million.
I don't have a good grasp of if that's low or high.
Let me see if I can find some. It's low. It's higher than average for a DCOM, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, obviously it's going to be lower than a different, like a regular movie that's in theaters. But because you have big blockbusters that are like hundreds of millions of dollars. And this one was only $5 million, which is, they had to do the little light effects for the time travel, but I guess that's the only like kind of CGI that they had to do.
Yeah, I could pull up more stuff, but I'm not gonna. We don't need to do a dig.
Everything else is pretty practical in this movie. It's really just the actors running around.
I mean, there's computer design stuff throughout, and everything's professionally shot, and they probably did a bunch of retakes.
They had to do the black hole.
Yeah, they definitely had more of a computer budget than I think. Yeah. Regardless, whatever. This was filmed in the same school as Read It and Weep.
No.
And it's the same school as the auditorium scenes of High School Musical.
Wait, they had a different auditorium?
Yes.
Huh. For High School Musical?
Yes.
They're like, okay, we'll film all the high school stuff in this high school, but then go to a different auditorium.
Yeah.
And then...
It's also in Utah.
And then Minutemen was like, we're going to use that school, but not its auditorium.
Yep. High School Musical 3 goes back to the same one.
Weird.
It's also the same high school David Archuleta attended and graduated from. Shout out David Archuleta. Wow. There are a bunch of references to Back to the Future in this movie.
I bet, yeah. That first off, they mentioned Back to the Future.
It's mentioned explicitly. Just a couple of random examples that I put down. The vice principal is given the last name of Tolkien, which is a reference to the actor who played the principal in Back to the Future. His last name is Tolkien.
Cool.
Both films start with time traveling on an animal named after Einstein.
They tested... Wait, in Back to the Future?
Back to the Future, they tested the dog named Einstein.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
He was the first one to test the time travel. And then Albert Feinstein did it here. There's stuff where, like, their school dance, like, that's where the whole thing ends on. And it's the whole back in time dance.
Yeah.
They do a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, they very much are, like, dressed in that time. When he goes back to, like, the 60s. Isn't that when he... Or was it, the 50s?
Back to the Future is...
He goes back to...
From the 80s, go to the 60s.
Yeah, I think it's the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so their school dance is, like, 60s theme and Minutemen, which was fun.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing where...
Yeah, where he goes into the school dance that his parents attended in the 60s. Yeah.
So, a lot of stuff like that. Not going to list everything, but they clearly had a lot of love for that film, and it's a good film. So.
And it's time travel shenanigans. So, yeah.
The last thing I had down was just the music, but honestly, we can talk about that when we get to it in the plot.
Yeah, there's a couple original songs that were made for the soundtrack, which we can mention when they come up in the movie.
Disney Plus description?
You ready for the Disney Plus description?
To spare other kids from humiliating and totally uncool high school experiences, Senior Virgil and his buddies invent the ultimate time machine, traveling back in time just far enough to alter conversations, events, and interactions that led them to being stigmatized as part of the out crowd. But when they accidentally open a black hole, they learn that turning back the clock can create a massive mess. This feels shorter than most Disney Plus descriptions.
It is very short. So I'm just reading it back to see if anything's blatantly wrong. I don't think so.
It's just not that descriptive.
No, it's pretty simple.
It's fine.
But also the plot is this simple. It's like, yeah. And then they create a black hole. They really give away the black hole part. That's all right. Okay. So you ready to jump into the movie?
Oh boy. I am so ready to Phineas and Ferb the movie across the second dimension into this movie.
Great. All right, so we open up on the movie. It's a very dramatic shot of the high school, and it says Minutemen. And,
that's the name of the movie.
And I noted they're in California because there's a California flag,
nice.
Even though this was filmed in Utah.
So it was a deliberate choice to make it California.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough.
All right, so we see Virgil gets off the bus with Derek. They're best friends. They have a secret little handshake. They go boop, 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 scorch.
This will come back.
It comes back, yeah. And Derek's like, we finally made it the big time. Football, free period, chicks.
Yeah.
He loves the ladies.
Classic high school freshman behavior.
And Stephanie comes up and she's like, oh, my boys have grown up so fast. Wow, the three of us are best friends.
They're going to do a time jump very soon. They don't even really try at all to, like, make them look younger.
They, like, changed their hair a little bit. I think, like, Virgil's wearing a hat. I mean, I don't know. It's a big enough difference to be that it works well enough. Like, this is, one of, like, 2 scenes where you see them in the past.
Pretty much.
Like, I think it's fine. But, yeah. Especially the one I think they did the worst job was Charlie. He looks exactly the same as he did 4 years or 3 years ago is the time jump that they do. But, yeah. Anyway. So they're like going into school. Derek is very focused on like social network. Like, I want to be popular. Yeah.
I want to. Yeah. This is very much a popularity DCOM, which is the trope that so many DCOMs had at the beginning, where it's just like either you're popular and cool or you're a dweeb and not it. And the movie always ends with everyone should be happy with themselves.
Right. I think this movie does it a little better, though, because, I mean, the message is less so like, let's all accept each other, and more so just like, don't mess with things.
Which is odd.
Which I guess is a little weird.
It's a weird message. I think there's one point that I think is supposed to be the heart of the movie, where it's really just like the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Yeah.
It's like, be happy for what you have. What you have is special.
Yeah.
And there's some pull to that. I feel like if this movie may not fully land on its message, but it's a fun movie. So I think
it's fun though, and I think another way that it works better in this movie, or is like less annoying, is that there's no huge like girl popular group. Like there's Jocelyn, but she's not around that much.
Yeah. It's
usually in these DCOMs, it's like the popular girl is bullying everybody.
Girl-focused movies, which I think is actually a very important distinction.
Yeah, this is a boy-focused movie.
This is a homecoming plot movie, but it's a boy-focused and advertised film, which weirdly makes it all a lot better because it's clearly like a B-C importance to like the majority of stuff that's going on.
Yeah. All right. We learned that Derek talked Stephanie into trying out for cheerleading. And Derek tells Virgil, like, try not to embarrass me. And Virgil, like, is teasing him all the time. Virgil's very, like, quippy and pokes fun.
He's the funny friend.
Yeah, he's the funny friend. And not in, like, the most cringy way. A little cringy, but, like, I feel like for the most part, he's fine.
There's notably a moment where catches Derek. He's like, oh, you got some boogers in your nose that some girls are looking by, and he like tries to hide his nose. He's like, I'm just teasing. It's just like in case there was an emergency. He's saying like, if something's going wrong that would be socially awkward, I'll be there to fix it.
Yeah. All right, so now we get to football tryouts, which is also like cheerleading tryouts. Everyone's out on the football field.
This is the type of cheerleading that is not like any of the other cheerleading we've seen in the multiple cheerleading DCOMs that there are, because this is literally just go sports team.
Yeah, for real.
But sure.
Virgil is just also there chatting with some guys and being like silly goofy. I don't know. I guess he's just there to hang out because his best friends are there. Derek is trying to throw the football and he sucks at throwing the football.
Yeah, he is not looking great.
Yeah, and Virgil comes over and he's like, bro, rest your arm. And he's like, no. And then all of a sudden Charlie comes crashing through on a rocket car and he's like, I can't stop it. And he's like tearing up the field.
And the car is going vroom.
Yeah, Virgil's like, isn't that your neighbor? To Derek. So we learned that Charlie and Derek are neighbors. And that Charlie skipped some grades because he's really smart. So later in the movie, he's 14. So right now he's 11. He's 11 and he's starting high school, which is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
The coach is like, stop, he's tearing up the grass. And he's like, I can't stop. And then Derek is like, this dweeb's going down. And he throws the football and it hits Charlie in the head. Perfectly.
Great throw with anticipation.
And the coach was like, whoa.
Yeah. But it was probably we'll presume this throw gets him on the team, which is kind of silly.
It does.
But like,
he has one good throw.
It's one good throw, which I guess if for a freshman, you might be like, hey, if we can get that throw to be more consistent, that's going to be great.
That's true. Was he looking for a star quarterback, right? Like as a freshman?
Probably not
no
as a
way.
freshman, no.
Yeah, but good enough to get him
prospects. I get that.
Yeah, good enough to get him on the team to start training probably, which is also, it's still kind of insane that one throw got him there. The part that I don't get is like he hits Charlie in the head and Charlie falls off the rocket car. The rocket car stops. And like
it really shows that Charlie could have stopped.
Charlie could have stopped anytime he wanted. He just had to jump off or take his foot off or something, right?
Yeah.
I'm confused. I'm confused by that.
It's pretty dumb.
It was pretty dumb. Anyway, the football guys come over and start bullying Charlie. They like circle around him and Virgil comes over and he's like, hey, stop. But they start bullying Virgil too. Because, what, you're going to stand up for the nerd? No, we're going to bully you. And Derek watches from behind and you see him being like, oh no.
But everyone starts like patting him on the chest like, great throw.
Yeah, great
Way
throw.
to hit that guy in the head who was driving a motorized vehicle. That could have killed someone.
Yeah. And then it cuts away and we see Virgil and Charlie being hung up on the statue. So the statue in front of the school is like a ram.
Yeah, they're the
rams. And it has horns. And so they're dangling on the horns in cheerleading outfits and they put makeup on them. And they become friends while on the statue.
Hooray.
Charlie's like, yeah, I made that rocket car to avoid the bus because
I get bullied on the bus.
Yeah, I get bullied. And Virgil's like, how's that working out for you?
Yeah, Charlie is very much a character. It's shocking that he's not as super annoying in this film. Like, it's well written, well acted, well directed to make it not that bad. But you can definitely just see this guy, like, sometimes you need to just chill out a little bit, man. Mm-hmm. But there's those people in real life. I don't think it should be that controversial. I definitely feel like he's very autism coded, where it's very much just like he's got these hyper-focused interests of just like, I want to do this, I want to explore this. And he's very smart, very good at putting action to his plan.
And the like social awareness isn't always there. Yeah.
Not picking up on sarcasm, not picking up on other aspects.
And he's also like a lot younger than
which is the other explanation for it all. It's just literal lack of experience.
Yeah. All right, so then we get 3 years later. Time jump. Virgil is now driving him and Charlie to school because they're seniors. So Virgil's 17.
Yeah.
Because he's not 18. They make a point of that later, that he's not 18 yet.
Charlie is 14. notably didn't skip any extra grades while in high
No, so
school.
he's also a senior. Yeah. And Charlie talks about his cat, who is named Albert Feleinstein. That is a choice of a name.
It is certainly a name. How many DCOM cats do we have?
I don't know.
This is one of very few.
Very few.
There's the cat that dies in Lemonade Mouth.
You're right, Nancy.
That's the only one I can ever think of. Wow, that's an old cat.
Oh, the cat's really old. Yeah, she's really old. Yeah, no, that's a good point. He could have just named his cat Einstein. I guess he liked the pun.
Yeah.
But, yeah, whatever. Virgil waves to Stephanie from across the, quad. And Stephanie waves back, and she, bites her lip. Hi.
Notably, she's dating Derek.
She is dating Derek.
And has been for presumably years.
And also, presumably doesn't interact with Virgil that much. Despite how much they interact in this movie.
They are presumed still to be friends, but much more on the down low, in school only type friends.
Yeah, they don't really hang out anymore.
They didn't talk all of last summer. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's willing to be hey, Bat's eyelids.
Oh.
What?
So,
do that again?
Oh. So they go into school, and we learn that Charlie likes to invent stuff all the time. And Virgil's like, how about you make me something that's going to make me rich and popular? And then they see Zeke on his motorcycle, and it's very intimidating.
Yeah, they just have to introduce Zeke before actually introducing him, because otherwise be this is random.
Who is that guy? Oh, he's the guy who's on the motorcycle.
Zeke is very minimally a character in this film.
Yeah, but he's there, and he's great. At lunch, Virgil's at the nerd table, and he longs for Stephanie. Sorry, my notes say Stephanie because I replaced all my Stephs with Stephanie. We see Stephanie is with Derek, and Virgil's like, senior year, and I'm still eating at the dork table. How did it come to this? And they're like, oh, it's because of the statue thing.
Yeah, the
incident.
They'll refer back to it.
Yes. And then Jeanette comes over, and she loves birds, and she always calls Charlie some kind of bird. She goes hi, hummingbird. Or
did you write down all the birds?
No, I did not. I only wrote down maybe one. But just know that every time she comes in and talks to Charlie, she calls him a different kind of bird.
It's just like you're playing Wingspan.
It's really cute. Birds are fun. She says hi to Charlie, and she fixes his hair, and then she leaves, and they're like, Charlie, she's been so into you forever. And he's like, no, I don't want her. I'm married to science.
Yeah, he's what you expect.
Yeah. All right, so then Virgil goes over to talk to Stephanie at the sewing machine. He's like, oh, how are you? Didn't see much this summer. And it's like, oh, yes, Stephanie's very popular and goes to social stuff. And Virgil plays video games all summer. But they make cute banter. I don't really write all the stuff that they talk about as they interact, but know that every time they interact, they're making little jokes and laughing, and they have good chemistry.
It's like a C or D plot, the romance between them all. It is a driving factor throughout the whole film, where it's clear they both like each other, but circumstances have pulled them apart, both in a friendship way and in a romantic way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the chemistry's there.
The chemistry's there. They're good at each other for it. And I guess, the emotional crux of the story, the morals and everything comes out through their conversations.
Yeah.
But, who cares about that? Let's talk about time travel.
Woo. Okay, so now we're in class. Virgil's in class with Zeke, who is scratching his name into a binder. Yeah. Zeke.
It's pretty good.
And Jocelyn is doing her nails. So Jocelyn's the queen bee bitch, who doesn't really feel like she's on the top of the social pyramid, but she's up there. Yeah. Because it's really Derek and Stephanie at the top.
Yeah, they're the cheerleader and the high school quarterback. That is the most stereotypical top of the pyramid you can get.
But Jocelyn is also there. Jocelyn Lee. Stephanie always says Jocelyn Lee, her full name.
Yeah, they got a rivalry going.
Yeah. And then Charlie comes in. And the teacher's like, oh, Charlie, you here for your booster chair? And Charlie's like, oh, get it later. Like, he's not even embarrassed. Everybody's laughing at him. He's just like, no, I'll get him later. This is an AV club emergency. I need Virgil Fox right away. And Virgil's embarrassed, but he goes with Charlie anyway.
I just like that Charlie has enough respect in this school that he can pull a student out of a class.
Yeah, for an AV club. Which, it's just to talk about time travel. It's not even like anything specific right now is happening. Charlie just got really excited about his invention and pulled Virgil out of class for it.
Not too bad.
Why? In the hall, Charlie's like, remember my rocket car from the incident?
Yeah, I can't forget that.
Yeah. Well, part of the invention is still viable, blah, 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 science stuff. And then they go into the AV club, and everybody in the AV club stands up and salutes Charlie.
He's got that respect. He's ruling the AV club with an iron fist.
He really is. And then they all turn and look at Virgil, and he's like, I'm not saluting you. So he's like, at ease.
Notably, all these kids in the AV club, he said he was like setting up computers to work on this whole system. That's like a big crux of how it all figured out is a computer at the school has been working for years on this. None of these kids in the AV club have noticed or figured out what was going on.
No, that's their leader's top secret project. Yeah. Okay, so then Charlie shows Virgil something very top secret, and he turns it on, and we see this little like vortex animation.
You know when you would listen to an MP3 file on like Windows? Do you know what I'm talking about? And they would show the like or the sound waves would make fun little patterns.
Sure.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
I'm pulling it up.
This is great for the podcast.
Well, this is for you. Windows Media Player visualizations. It was stuff like this.
Okay. That's funny.
So, yeah, for people who are not in the room with me right now, it looked like that. Looked like what Windows Media Player would do if you just played an audio-only file. It's just like little animations showing tubes.
And he looks over at Virgil like, yeah. And
I know, right?
Virgil's like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, what you're looking at is a successful simulation of practical time travel.
It's pretty crazy.
And now they're out on the track, running laps. So they're at like gym class right now, and they're running around the track. And they're like, Charlie, you're 14. And I'm supposed to believe that you built a time machine? And he's like, yeah, it can go 48 hours in the past. So this is a really good thing that they put in here, actually.
Yes.
To
nip it at the bud. Just be like
limit it so that they're not like, why don't you go back 4 years? Why don't you go back 3 years to the incident? They can't. It only goes back 48 hours.
It only goes back 48 hours. There's a lot of interesting aspects to that. I also feel like this is a way... I actually really like this as a trope for time travel, where it's very limited in the scope that you can do. I feel like that's fascinating and should be done.
You need more. That to make like a tighter story, because if you just open up time travel as a thing,
the world's too wide.
It breaks the world. It breaks the story, because you're like, why don't you just time travel? Like Harry Potter kind of did it, where it's like,
and it messes everything up.
Time travel all the time. Like, yeah. Now they're in a cooking class, still talking about it, blah, 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 science. And Charlie's like, we need a hardware guy to help us build it.
Yeah, it's like, we need someone who knows how to work around all this metal, but also is on the outskirts of society.
Yeah, and then Jeanette comes up, and Charlie's all nervous. And she's like, what is that? And she's like, I have this merengue. That's the assignment? Here, I'll give it to you, and I'll take what you're working on. And the face she gives when she takes what like Virgil's been working on, like,
you're like, this is so wrong.
So she gives him the merengue, and Virgil's like, dude, she gave you merengue. That's huge.
That's critical.
That's huge. She likes you. She gave you merengue. So now they're in the hall, and Charlie's like, are you in or you're out? And Virgil's like, okay, I'll help you, and I'll help you find a hardware guy, but only if the first time we time travel, we do what I want to do. And then Charlie's like, deal. And so they're like, okay, the hardware guy has to have moral flexibility and like live on the fringes of society. And they walk by like
the welding class,
and they see Zeke, and they're like, how about Zeke? Because he's like actively welding. And then he just kind of goes in the doorway like, you talking about me? So they
bring him to Virgil's house.
Yeah, so they're at Virgil's house, but like Charlie's cat is there.
Well, we know Charlie's known to walk his cat.
Yeah, so I guess they went over to Virgil's house, and he's like, hold on, let me go home and get Albert Freelandstein.
Do you think he just calls him Albert? Because I don't.
No, he calls him Albert Freelandstein every time. The cat meows at Zeke, and Zeke's like, what's with your cat? And Charlie goes, his name is Albert Freelandstein. And Zeke looks him dead in the eyes and says, that's the dumbest name for a cat I've ever heard.
So good.
Virgil says, couldn't agree more, Zekester.
That was just a whole awkward moment, like, why you call me Zekester?
Yeah. No, this trio is iconic, honestly.
They bounce well off each other.
They do. And then Virgil's sister comes down. Honestly, her name is Amy. She is so unnecessary throughout the whole movie.
She's like in 3 scenes. It's crazy.
She's in like 3 scenes, and she's just there to like be annoying for comedic effect. I don't know. We never see Virgil's parents.
Nope. We never see any parent.
That's crazy.
Except for the vice principal.
Not a parent. He's just
not even the principal.
He's the only adult we see other than the robot.
Other than the like FBI.
Oh, that's true. Okay, yeah. Actually, there's like the FBI and NASA are in this movie. But we never see any parents.
Hey, you've all time traveled and seen it.
Don't you think like Charlie's and Virgil's parents would be there being like, what the fuck? You have the FBI coming after you?
They're just absent.
I guess so. Okay. So Amy comes down to be like, oh, I hear you have a boys over. Ah, they're not even cute.
Damn.
Okay, so then Zeke looks at the blueprints and he's like, it looks like this could work. And they're like,
they both just like stare at him.
They're shocked that he like understands the blueprints, and he's like, yeah, Mongo read.
It's a good line.
Yeah. He's like, I'll help you construct it because, I'm always up for a challenge and free bean dip.
They're eating bean dip.
And then Charlie goes to wipe bean dip off of Zeke's face, and Zeke's like, no. He's not having it. All right, cut to them building the time travel machine in a garage. Virgil decides he wants to first use the time machine for the lottery, and Charlie's like, no.
That's super unethical.
And Virgil's like, too bad, I get to choose. Remember, you already agreed to it. And Zeke also, by the way, is so into this idea.
Zeke is very much like, yeah, like, cool.
Virgil and Zeke are like, hell yeah, let's use it for the lottery. We can win the lottery. So Charlie agrees, and then Zeke mentions that they need like a really big power source, and Virgil's like, yeah, not to mention like privacy and a lot of space. And Charlie's like, oh, I have an idea. So they go to the vice principal, who's trying to get candy from a vending machine, and Chester, who's a big old nerd, is inside the vending machine. And the principal's just like trying to get his dollar to work, and he doesn't care that Chester's locked in there. And they're like, aren't you going to help him? And the vice principal's like, that's just how the social system works in high school. Like, I can't mess with the social system. I can't help the nerd get out of the vending machine.
What I don't get about this is you can help the nerd get out. If you really believe that, which at least there's some argument for, it's like, I can't change the world, punishment, whatever. I just got to let bygones be bygones. You can still get him out and then get your fucking just vending machine.
Why doesn't he just ask Chester to get him what he wants?
Because he's not letting Chester out. Chester will be like, well, then can you let me out?
Yeah, can you let me out? He's like, no, I can't. You see, I have to let you be bullied and locked in a vending machine.
His morals are too strong.
The boys are like, we want to make a new club, and Charlie says we want room 77, and the vice principal's like, no, never gonna happen. And then he struggles with his dollar bill, and Virgil pulls out some quarters and is like, how about
Notably,
now?
This is one of very few times in the film where Virgil is doing something that the other two in the group didn't already do better or more successful.
Yeah, Virgil.
It's one of the only times Virgil shows his worth is paying the principal $1.
Virgil doesn't contribute as much, although it's his whole idea to become the Minutemen.
Yeah.
So
that's
he contributes that in the name, but nobody cares about the name. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. The vice principal's like, hell yeah, I want these coins. Fine, you can have your club in that room. And then he's like, move over, Chester, I'm going for this snack.
The peanut brittle, whatever. Which he should have told him to move earlier.
Well, the dollar wasn't working.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, cut to room 77. It's underneath the football field. It was originally a fallout shelter, and now it's just used as like storage. And it's very cluttered and dirty, so we get a cleaning montage.
Wow.
And you know what the song is? The infamous Disney Channel hit by Allie and AJ. Like a roller coaster ride. What's it called?
Like Whoa.
Oh, Like Whoa. And I will demonstrate how iconic it is. Remember that? Bingo came running over.
She loves the kazoo.
She does love the kazoo. Thank you. I'm okay. It's just a kazoo. You can go back to your bone. Okay. That song slaps. It's also in High School Musical 3, fun fact. So when we talk about High School Musical 3, we can be like, oh my god.
Allie and AJ. I mean, this ain't their movie. That's Cowbells. We'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, but they had this song that aired with this movie.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah, it's slap.
So montage. They're cleaning up the room. They're stealing tech from the school. They're finding scrap metal. They took the microwave from the teacher's lounge, I guess. I don't know. Eventually, they have a big old contraption. All right, that's it. Charlie says, one small step for man, but one very large... Wait. No, that's not it. And Zeke's like, just turn it on. Like, stop messing around. So I turn it on. And a huge beam of light comes up. And Charlie says, good gravy.
This movie would have been different if you could swear.
Yeah. Charlie's very excited, and he tries to do the secret handshake with Virgil. So he goes, do, scratch! And Virgil's like, it's Scorch. Okay, who wants to go first? And they're all nervous to do it because, like, they could die, right?
Yeah.
Untested. So Charlie's like, oh, I don't know who should do it, blah, blah, blah.
He's starting internally debating, and
yeah, and then
Virgil and Zeke just like nod over at Albert.
Yeah, I love it when these two pair up to like do crazy shit because it was their idea to do the lottery, and now they like see the cat and they're like, yeah, let's do it. So they just silently walk over to the cat. They put like a leash on it, a pocket watch on it, and they throw it into the vortex. And Charlie's like, what? Oh, also they put goggles on the cat.
they had to make sure to put goggles on the cat.
They put goggles on the cat. They throw it in. And then Charlie's like, are you fucking kidding me? He could die. And Virgil's like, you were going to have me do it.
Good.
And then Zeke pulls the cat back. And he comes back and there's like snow all over him. It's very cold. But they're like, look at the watch. It says 8:43, but right now it's 8:44. And this is so stupid.
Okay. You're mad because the watch could not be synced, which they would sync it if that's the point of the test, is like take the watch and
yeah, but like
well,
what if the watch was just 10 seconds off and they are looking at it, or like the clock on the computer or something? What if they're like 10 seconds off of each other?
They probably synced them to the second.
I fucking hope so.
They
should have sent the cat back an hour.
What I don't get is if you put the cat back in time 1 minute,
the clock changed.
How? Yeah, who changed the clock? You brought the clock. We know later on if you bring a tape from the past,
it's unchanged.
Stays. Yeah.
Apparently that's not the same for a watch. If you bring
Unless
a watch,
the cat went and said, "Okay, what's the local time? I'm gonna set the watch to the local time."
If you bring a watch to the past, it will automatically change by magic.
Yes, everyone knows this.
Yeah, no, it's
first
really
rule of time travel. If you bring a watch to the past, it changes.
It's so dumb. This is like the biggest thing that doesn't make sense. If you're, suspending your disbelief that time travel can happen, this part's stupid. Because the watch wouldn't just change like that.
I wish they had just had something else that could prove.
I don't know what else they could have done, though.
I don't know.
They would have, maybe if they're like, oh, we had a plate of food there, and then the cat went and ate it in the past or something. But that would have taken too much time. And it's really easy, especially in a kids movie, to just be like, "Oh my god, the time is different."
But when you think about it for a second, it doesn't stupid.
Work. Yeah. Your cat is the first time traveler in history. We did it. All right. So then we see a guy playing solitaire on a computer. He works for NASA.
I think this is technically like college workers.
Is
like they're a university.
They
research
don't look
team.
like college workers.
They're like a research team, not college students.
They're just like
it doesn't
doing
really
boring
matter.
Work.
They're the people who are going to realize the space-time continuum is breaking somewhat.
Yeah, they get like beeps on an alarm, and one guy's like, "That's weird. That's suspicious," and the guy playing solitaire is like, "Whatever. It doesn't matter." Okay. Cut to the library. Derek and Stephanie are talking, and Derek says,
them?
Yeah, Derek says, "Come on, she's just tutoring me in French." And Stephanie is like, "Jocelyn Lee is tutoring you in French, and that's all."
That's all Jocelyn Lee is doing.
She always says Jocelyn Lee, and he's like, "Yeah." And then she says something in French, and he's like, "See, that's why I need a tutor. I don't understand what you said." And she says, "It means my boyfriend is a lying cheese brain."
Like, why don't you have your girlfriend tutor you in French?
Yeah. And then he's like, "Come on. Jocelyn's hot and all, but she's a total bottom feeder. I would never go there."
I actually love the line, though.
It's hilarious, but he's disgusting.
Jocelyn is hot, but
yeah, she's
total
hot.
bottom feeder.
Yeah, she's hot, but like, come on. And Stephanie goes, "I know."
She hates Jocelyn.
She probably hates Derek too. And then
she's dating Derek.
I know.
She
I feel like
leave.
I feel like not with the social contract. I feel like I don't know why she really sticks around, and she kind of tells Virgil that she regrets it, but like, whatever. And then Derek leaves, and Virgil goes up to Stephanie, and they're like, "Remember when we were kids and we did this, blah blah, ha ha ha." And Stephanie says, "I miss us," and Virgil goes, "Yeah, the Tres Amigos." And Stephanie's like, Derek really did try to stop those football players, but you know how seniors are.
Yeah, Derek totally was like, "Stop."
Yeah, he's really sorry. Which, like, sure, Stephanie, I'm sure he's really sorry for how many times he said he's sorry in the last 3 years, which is 0.
I mean, maybe he has.
I'm assuming he hasn't.
I assume he has, but it's been fake.
And she's like, the people who don't let go of the past die faster and have asked me. And Virgil just kind of laughs. So now we're down at the time machine. The boys have on jackets and a hat and scarf because of all the crazy temperature changes.
They know it's cold there. But
it's
also,
cold in the time machine.
It apparently can also be hot there. Like, the temperature fluctuates wildly. Like,
it's always cold. I don't know. Like, yeah. Virgil has the winning lottery numbers, so they're ready to go back in time and win the lottery. Charlie's like, "Okay, once we're back there, we'll have 10 minutes to do our stuff and come back. Otherwise, we risk exploding." And Zeke is like, "All right, I have my grappling hook." And Virgil's like, "Why?" And Zeke says, "You making fun of the hook?" And Virgil's like, "No."
This hook is such a MacGuffin through the whole movie. Spoiler,
it's funny.
I like it more as the MacGuffin, but the way they use it, like, kind of irritates me. It's such a lame use.
Because they have to use it to have that moment of like, yeah, he didn't bring the hook for nothing. But it's way better as a gag of like, why do you have a grappling hook? Okay, so then they hop into the time machine. They go off like a diving board, which is fun.
Yeah, I don't know where they stole the diving board from.
And they fly out and land on some cardboard boxes. And Charlie checks computer and he's like, oh my gosh, yay, it's yesterday. We're time travelers. And then he starts dancing around. He does this
big old dance.
We're time travelers, time travelers. Remember, they only have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he spends a solid minute of that just dancing.
Which, I mean, he's time traveler.
Yeah, that's true. So they run over the convenience store and they try to buy a lottery ticket, but they can't because they're 18. Or they're not 18. You have to be 18 to buy a lottery ticket. So they go outside to what they call Robot Man.
So everyone has seen those like street performers who get spray paint themselves a color and
like metallic silver.
Pretend not like they can't talk and they just emote robot whatever.
Yeah.
Why is one of those just outside a convenience store near a high school?
I don't know.
Feels like a weird place for one. That's not really street performer vibe.
Yeah. So they go out to him and they're like, hey, can you buy us a lottery ticket with these specific numbers? And they have to tip him a bunch to get him to agree. But then they tip him and he gives a thumbs up. And then Charlie's like, oh my gosh, we only have 2 minutes. And Virgil's like, okay, meet us here tomorrow at 12 with the ticket. And don't do anything with it. And so they run away. And then we get like a second of the NASA guys seeing the beep again. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it.
No, it's not important. It's not like that's time travel going on or anything.
Yeah. So then the boys go back and...
to the future.
Yeah, so they're back in their present time, right? And they go to the convenience store. And, oh my gosh, Robot Man has won the lottery. There's a bunch of reporters there.
Wow, Robot Man. Everyone's local hero, Robot Man.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, we don't win the lottery. I can't believe how public he's going with winning the lottery. If I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell the public personally.
Yeah. No, if I won the lottery, I'd tell nobody, but there'd be signs. My
gold jet ski would be
You're getting a gold jet ski? I didn't even know you wanted a jet ski.
Well, that's the thing. I don't, but I won the lottery. And they're like, Kelsey has never wanted a gold jet ski before, and now she just buys it on a random Thursday.
On a Thursday? No, not even like a Monday?
I was bored. I'm pretending to have a job to keep face. Anyway, so in the locker room, Virgil's like, okay, here's how we try again to win the lottery. And Charlie's like, no, it's wrong. It's cheating. And Virgil's just trying to come up with more ways to become rich. And Charlie's like, listen, if anyone finds out about the time machine, it'll be the end of me, you, and Zeke. The end. So Charlie's like, basically cut it out. Like, stop trying to do shady shit with the time travel, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So then we see Chester. Remember, he's a nerd. He gets out of the shower, like, in the locker room, and all his clothes are taken. He goes, oh, man.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I'm Chester.
I'm Chester.
And then, to continue the conversation, Charlie's like, we gotta find good use for the time machine besides being rich and popular. Okay, so then Chester runs out in his towel. I don't know why he leaves the locker room in his towel.
He has to get to class.
I guess to like maybe find his clothes and get to class. If somebody took my clothes, I would tell the teacher in the locker room or something.
You look how the vice principal does everything.
Well, I would tell the gym teacher and be like, do you have any spare clothes? I don't think I would leave the locker room.
That's fair.
But, Chester does.
Yeah.
And then the bullies are like, we have your clothes. And then they steal his towel that's wrapped around him, so he's naked.
Luckily,
and they make fun of him.
But he has to have a sign to block him.
Would that be such a good gag if they steal it and then they go like, boing, and they're actually just super impressed?
And what they gotta go back in time is restore the status quo before everyone knew Chester just hanged dog.
That's why he becomes popular. Actually not. He gets a sign and he.
Oh boy, this is getting in a stupid direction.
Vice principal comes over and he goes, can you help me get my clothes back? And the vice principal's like, sorry, can't help you. I don't care.
I respect the lack of care.
Yeah, he's like, I can't fuck with the social hierarchy, Chester, sorry. Which, like, The vice principal sucked. And then, Charlie gets a brilliant idea? Maybe, okay, I thought it was Virgil before that came up with this idea. But I think the two boys come up with the idea, like, at the same time. Because they see this happening to Chester, and they're like, let's use the time machine for, yeah, exactly. And then they do their handshake, and Charlie says, starch! It's scorch. And Virgil says, did you even read the instructions I emailed you?
I really love the idea of emailing a handshake. Like, okay, next. That seems like the worst possible way to teach a handshake.
He, like, increased the font size in bold, underlined, scorch.
And Charlie's like, I thought you said starch.
Starch. I thought that was funny. That Virgil's so fed up with him getting it wrong, he emails him the instructions. All right, so then they tell Zeke that they want to become silent heroes to the uncool. Mere minutes can make or break an entire future. Also, they're like standing in front of a big windowsill that BenG wanted to point out.
Now, I don't remember what one, but some YouTube video I watched that was like analyzing Minutemen pointed out they just like when they got serious, they got to stand in a windowsill
to look like
a
heroes.
Giant windowsill.
Yeah. I like this concept though, and it's kind of the concept of the whole movie is like mere minutes can make or break you. And so they're going to go back in time and change those minutes to help people.
They're men who are going to fix the minutes of the minutia.
Virgil says, take what happened to me freshman year. If I knew what it would do to my status, I never would have done it. And Charlie's like, tell us how you really feel. And Virgil says, think about all the kids at this school that are like Chester, like us. The Minutemen must use their power for truth and justice. And they're like, the Minutemen? And he's like, yeah, we're the Minutemen. Clever, right? And Zeke says, no, not really.
I will say this. I think it's a good name, but I also get why they're like, no.
I like it.
I feel like it's weird that no one seems to care for it until Virgil's like, no, you have to say Minutemen, y'all. Guys, we're the Minutemen.
We're the Minutemen. All right, so they're at the time machine, and they're like, oh, somebody has to stay back so that adjustments can be made while they're in the past. And they go, all right, not it. And Charlie loses, and he goes, no fair, I invented it. And Virgil says, all right, redo. Not it. Charlie loses again. It was a good bit. And then Jeanette goes, not it. Well, that was fun.
She snuck into the club.
Yeah, and they're like, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, I saw your club on the list. The Back to the Future fan club. I love that movie. Well,
really on the nose with the naming of your club.
It is. But also they know that nobody would want to join it. And Jeanette's like, I love that movie. Well, I've never actually seen it.
Jeanette is just so thirsty for Charlie.
She is very thirsty for Charlie. And Virgil's like, actually, Jeanette, your timing is very interesting. And Charlie's like, no. And so they're like, all right. They go over to the side and they're like, whisper, whisper, whisper. And then they look over at Jeanette and smile. And they go back. And Charlie starts going, no. As they're going like, Charlie, come on. And he's like, no.
And then they'll just keep occasionally pausing and looking at Jeanette. And they all smile and wave.
This movie's great. This movie's hilarious. And then he starts going, no, he's like screaming. And then they're just like, all right, Jeanette, have a seat. And then they show her the time machine and she's like, all right, yeah, I'm down to help. But, we need to do something about your outfits. So cut to them in like really cool snowsuits now. They're all white. They have like the fur on the hood.
Yeah, they look very professional.
It looks cool.
It looks like they're from a comic book.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, my dad just bought
a ski
World. Yeah. Okay. This is embarrassing. But I will tell my truth. As a kid watching this movie, I don't know why I thought this. And it wasn't until this watching that I realized that it was a ski shop. I always thought it was like her dad got like a ski video game. That came with snowsuits. And that makes no sense.
That is not what I expected.
I told you it was embarrassing.
I also like, again, we haven't harped on it enough that these three main characters are so vivid, like clearly different heights.
Yes.
Charlie
like
is half the size of Zeke, and that's not even an exaggeration.
No, for real.
So it's like, imagine it being a ski video game. It's like, here, we'll give you three radically different size.
Kid size, teenager size, super tall adult man size. So that, I'm speaking my truth. This movie came out in 2008. I was 9 years old, and I thought.
What about when we watched it in Jank House?
I think I still thought that from my childhood, and it didn't really matter. I never said this out loud to anyone, and now I am speaking it on my podcast. Yeah,
to our dozens of listeners.
Yeah, so y'all, this is a safe space. I thought she had a video game.
If you want to roast Kelsey, please do so by emailing the DCOM duo at gmail.com.
My dad bought Ski World, and that sounded like a video game.
Oh, you didn't even think that it was like... Oh no, Kelsey. You didn't even think it was like he bought like the rights to the game or anything. You thought it was he bought... a single video game, and it came with three full plush.
Do you remember the iCarly Victorious crossover episode?
Yes.
Do you remember in that episode they had one of those like arcade games out, you're on a surfboard?
Sure.
In my mind, it was like exactly like that, but skiing. It was like one of those big
arcade. So it was a big arcade game.
Big arcade game where you're skiing, and it comes with snowsuits.
I don't know if that's better or worse. Thank you for sharing.
In this watch through, I'm like, oh, it's a ski shop. So she just gets snowsuits.
Were you just sitting there ready to type in like, and then they bought the video? My dad bought a video game. Wait.
I realized it before I typed anything down. Yeah, I was like, I wrote down ski shop because I realized this watch through. That's what it was. I'm sorry.
This is the most important part of the movie. We can continue to harp on this. I'm okay with that.
We can move on.
No, we can continue.
I just wanted to speak my truth, and I can let it go now. I can let it free into the world. Goodbye. Weird assumption I had as a kid. Okay, so they go back in time. They go to Chester in their snowsuits, and they give him the clothes, and they're like super heroic. They're like, here you go. We're here to help.
Yeah, and they struggle to get the clothes out of the bag.
And then Chester comes out in really cool clothes.
So fashionable.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, you can keep those clothes. I got some better ones.
I got some French threads.
And people are like, yo, Chester, you look sick as hell.
Chester's the coolest guy I've ever seen.
Whoa, he's all rizzed up now.
They really rizzed up Chester.
They gave him like some bling and like a plaid hoodie with the collar and a hat.
Yeah.
And they're like,
and he's become a fashion icon.
He's actually really cool.
I'd like to point out this implies to me that any of these kids could have become popular just by wearing these clothes.
Yeah, it's probably that in combo with the people trying to bully him, and he came out in cool clothes and kind of bested them, and people are like, you're cool for that, Chester. You're cool for that. And then the boys run out in their snowsuits, and the vice principal has this like diorama model of the school.
He's mentioning to like a janitor stuff like, when you get your 20 years tenure, they either give you a gold watch or you can get one of these, and it's just a diorama of the school, implying he chose this over a gold watch.
That's so funny, actually.
Right?
And he's like, don't touch it. I'm gonna put it in a bulletproof case.
He's so happy about this diorama of the school.
And then the boys run by and they run into him, and he destroys the model.
He lands on top of it and breaks it all.
And it breaks, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna get those guys. So he's like this personal vendetta against them.
I wish the vice principal was more of a character, because every time he does something, I'm like, it's pretty funny.
He is pretty funny in this movie. All right, so then the boys go back to the present. They land on some cushions in the boxes, and they go, we did it. And this is my question. Does Jeanette know what they did?
Yes, we get more or less confirmed later on with the football game one.
You're right, which is crazy to me.
To me, the way I'm interpreting the plot is if you know actively the time travel's going on, you remember the time travel.
How does that work though? That
she's in presence of the vortex. She's like there when that's all happening. So you think
if you're next to the time machine, then you know? Because like later Derek and Stephanie know about it too, and they don't remember because Virgil has to show them that he changed the past.
Yeah.
Jeanette doesn't have to be convinced. It's confusing. This is like, to me, the biggest plot hole that they don't really touch on, and it's not a huge deal.
It really doesn't change much of the plot.
No, it doesn't change much of the plot. It's like one of the things, and it's like, yeah, do you really need to explain it? Like, whatever. It's just one of those. It's not like
time travel is real. It's not there's real rules to follow.
It's just one of those things with time travel that makes it confusing. Like when you bring someone in that's not going with you in the past, it's like, do they know what? Do they remember what you changed? I don't know. It's fine. It's not going to vastly change the plot either way. Okay, so then the next morning, the vice principal's making morning announcements. He's like, there's snowsuit guys. They destroyed my diorama. When you're identified, you will be punished. And Virgil's like, cool, we're outlaws.
Nice.
Cut to the burger shop. Stephanie and Derek are there.
Burger Hour. It looks like a yummy place. I'm not gonna lie, being like yum tasty.
You like a good burger.
I like a good burger.
They're doing schoolwork. There's a nerd guy there. He works there. His name is Eugene.
Classic Eugene.
Yeah, that's a very nerdy name. And Jocelyn is there. Jocelyn who? Jocelyn Lee.
Oh, okay.
She's like, oh, Eugene, can't you just bring the food to the table when it's ready? And he's like, sure. And then Jocelyn walks by and Derek looks over and he gets a boner just looking at her.
It's really what happens.
Every time he sees Jocelyn, he's like, aw.
Oh.
Boing.
Oops. Yeah, to quote you from earlier in this podcast.
The boing is his dick that he has to push back. Eugene is bringing the food over to Jocelyn's table, and you see her remove a slippery wet sign as if that's the one thing. Like, if the sign was there, he wouldn't have slipped. But since she took the sign away, he didn't know the floor was slippery.
What's wild is so many of this stuff, the plot they're eventually going to get to is like you have to kind of live with your mistakes and stuff like that. But it's wild because so many of these mistakes are active, like, sabotages.
Yeah, active bullying. And they're like, we shouldn't have stopped the active bullying. It's because the principal sucks, though, so this is kind of the only way to do it. Okay, so Eugene slips on the floor.
He absolutely goops himself.
I guess it is a goop, because he gets food all over.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, it is. And one guy goes...
Derek's like, that was so funny.
And one guy goes, way to go, Eugene. Freaking nerd. And Zeke is watching this happen. And so they go back in time. And here we are again. The boys are coming to the rescue this time. They catch Eugene. And there's a mop. And it gets on Jocelyn and her bitchy friends. So they get all wet. And they're like, all right, snowsuit guys. You saved Eugene. And the guy goes, way to go, Eugene. Whoa, deja vu. Because he said it before. Crazy. But in a bullying
Anytime you
way.
have deja vu, it's just a glitch in the Matrix.
It's a time travel shenanigan. I guess now Eugene is cool because the snowsuit guys caught him slipping.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird how this one turns into like popularity, but I guess it's just like being blessed by the snowsuit guys is
makes you pretty cool. Because
he cops a dude.
He does. Later, he kind of acts like, oh, I know them. They're like my friends, and they're like really popular. So
yeah, everyone who gets saved by them turns into assholes.
Yeah. Oh, you wanted to keep a list.
Straight to the head.
You wanted to keep a list of everyone who gets saved. Do you want to put that somewhere?
I can do that.
So far we have Chester and Eugene. We're about to get a bunch more because we get a montage. So Chester with the clothes and Eugene with the falling down. Okay, so now we get montage time. And this time, what song do we have playing? It's a Corbin Blue song.
Ooh, he's technically uncredited on it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's definitely Corbin Blue.
It's definitely Corbin Blue.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay. Vice principal is pissed and like has cops with him, and he goes and interrogates the ski club, which is funny. He's like, all right, ski club.
It's clearly the ski club because they're wearing ski stuff.
And then in the paper it's like ski club proven innocent. So they're good. Okay, so we have montage of the boys helping. They help save a girl who's sleeping on her desk and starts to drool. So they like clean up the drool before anyone can see.
This one is clearly not anyone's specific. Like, this is her fault for falling asleep.
Yeah, so
what did a bully like sing her a lullaby?
This is like, yeah, one of them where it's like not her fault, but people bullied her probably about it. And then they get a boy out of a vending machine. So similar to what happened to Chester before, but now they
how
get a
did
boy
multiple
out.
Kids get? How easy is it to get a kid locked in a vending machine?
There's a bully with the keys.
And
it's a pretty funny prank.
It is pretty funny.
And then they take some like toilet paper off a guy's butt, or it's like
a toilet seat cover.
Yeah, so they take that off a kid's butt. And that's it for now. So we have our list going.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will review at the end of the movie.
Because I feel like these are just already shown to be very unequal.
Not every rescue has to be equal.
Especially in this point in the story when they don't know that they're causing a rift in the time continuum.
Yeah. They don't know they have to be careful with their time travel right now. Also, now the montage turns into the NASA guys look at the alarms more, and then there's like secret FBI agent spies following our three boys, including Charlie, who's on the street walking his cat. Yeah.
Notably, the cat's on a leash, but he's just holding the cat.
He's holding him. He got tired. All right. So then Eugene is bragging about knowing the snowsuit guys, like in the cafeteria. And Virgil's like, oh, yeah, they're cool. Yeah, they're pretty cool. And Eugene's like, whatever, Virgil. Like, Eugene is too cool to be talking to Virgil.
Yeah, Eugene's so cool now.
And he walks away, and Virgil goes, they're called the Minutemen.
Also, like, the middle height one's really hot. I'd like to continuously point out, because I feel like it's not stressed enough, there are only 2 people in this school
that are super tall.
Fit the description of Zeke's height and fit the description of Charlie's height.
For real.
And Virgil would be very obviously the third.
Yeah.
If you go through any logic.
Especially they've been hanging out lately. Like, Virgil's always with Charlie, and then like, oh, has anyone noticed that like Zeke is hanging out with Virgil and Charlie lately? Oh, have you guys noticed how freakishly tall and short 2 of those are?
How does like the conspiracy club not figure this out?
There's a conspiracy club?
Probably. They have every club here.
Yeah. Okay, Chester is also caught a tude. Just to note, Stephanie comes over and she's like, Virgil, good news. I got into UC Belmont.
Woo-woo.
Also, she's wearing a shirt. They do not address this. She's wearing a snowsuit guy's t-shirt.
Yeah. Someone's making merch of them, which is pretty good.
That's hilarious. He goes, get out. And she goes, oh, but it's not over yet. I also am trying to get a cheerleading scholarship. All right, cool. See you later. And Stephanie leaves.
It's like, I got to go tell Derek the good news.
Yeah. And then Charlie's all nervous. And he's like, about the formula, I kind of hacked and stole it from NASA.
You stole from NASA?
And the whole lunchroom goes quiet, and Charlie pulls them under the table.
How do they also not realize at this point that they may have something? I guess they don't know it's time travel.
Yeah.
But also, Charlie should be the prime suspect, even if the height thing wasn't a thing.
True. Yeah, no, that nobody knows that it's time travel. They just think it's some random guys running around somehow saving kids from being bullied. All right, so they go, this is bad. The files are from the 60s. Nobody's touched them in decades. But if we get caught, it's really bad. And Charlie's like, we just have to lay low and not use the time machine for a while. And then they come back up, and the whole cafeteria is still just staring at them. Mm-hmm. All right, cut to a new day. Virgil comes to school and sees Stephanie. Stephanie has a broken leg.
No.
Oh my god, this part was in the trailer. I remember the trailer on Disney Channel like so clearly for a minute.
I don't remember this.
You don't? And then he goes, we created a black hole.
Yeah, so they weren't hiding that aspect.
No, they weren't. It's in the Disney Plus description too. So yeah. Okay, so he sees Stephanie has a broken leg and he wants to save her, but Charlie was like, no, we're all being watched, right? Like, we can't do it right now. And Virgil's like, but she'll lose out on her scholarship. And Charlie says, you just want to help her because you have a creepy crush on her. And Jeanette goes, creepy crush? I'm in. She's very supportive of a creepy crush.
I feel like they just really gloss over the fact that they're all being watched and they've like talked about it.
Well, Charlie mentioned it right now.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Him mentioning, I'm like, I forgot that we talked about it.
Yeah, it happened during the montage.
Yeah.
So
it's just like, yeah, they have these adults following them through like general stores.
Yeah.
But not making contact. They're just keeping watch.
Virgil's like, no one probably even knows that the files are missing. Like you said, like they were defunct. So they go to save Stephanie. So, okay. They're like in the past now. Zeke takes a tractor thingy to ride onto the football field. Okay. And Eugene, so this is during the accident that broke Stephanie's leg,
yeah,
which we didn't get to see before. We're seeing it happen now. It was Eugene's fault.
Yep. Because he's like, hey, let me in on the hacky sack.
Yeah.
Oops, I'm going to kick the hacky sack right into Stephanie's face.
On top of the pyramid.
Yes.
Yeah. Stephanie's on top of the pyramid.
Terrible kick.
He's horrible at hacky sack. He kicked it really hard. So it hits Stephanie and she falls, but Virgil comes in and catches her. And they're on the ground. And Stephanie says, I don't know who you are, but you're amazing.
And they really are laying at each other for a while. Notably, they're not wearing full masks. They're just wearing goggles.
That covers like their whole face. And they have hoods.
Yeah. But I feel like when your friend is one of them, you should be able to tell. But then she figures it out because he says, get out.
Get out. Which he said one time offhand in the movie.
Maybe it's a quote between them.
Maybe.
I don't know.
He says, get out. And then they run away and they're high-fiving everybody as they leave. And Stephanie's like, huh.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So then Chester's walking the halls and he's bullying some emo kids.
Yeah, the kids that stole his clothes now, he's just like, y'all fucking cower.
Yeah. And Vice Principal's like, what is up? Chester, you can't leapfrog to a higher social status.
Yeah. What is crazy that he's just like, no, Chester, you have to be bullied.
Come with me to the office.
He's one of those people who's just like, we gotta bring back bullying. We can't let society go on like this.
So, like, this is the one time we see the vice principal get somebody in trouble. And it's not specifically for bullying. It's because Chester used to be on the bottom of the food chain, and now he's not anymore.
Yep.
And vice principal's like, I can't let this happen.
It's funny.
So Virgil and Charlie are there, and they see in the paper that Robot Man sues an old lady.
Yeah, it's a minor part of like the whole Stephanie chase. It's the car crash happened
right
because of that, and an old lady hit Robot Man's car,
which is a super fancy nice car because he won the lottery.
Yep.
So Charlie's like, oh my gosh, Robot Man sues an old lady and Chester's in trouble. We're changing things we shouldn't. The world has gone mad. So then at home, Virgil is like sweeping outside. He's like has a broom outside. What is he doing?
He's doing his best.
He's doing his That's okay. Stephanie rolls up and thanks him for saving her, and she's like, you snowsuit guy.
And Virgil's like, tenses up.
And she's like, don't even try to deny it. You said get out, which is so our thing. And she's like, it's you, Charlie, and Zeke. I figured it out.
Their heights are very obvious.
It's so obvious. He's like, no, that's crazy. Like, how would we even know that stuff like that's happening? And Stephanie's like, you see, I thought about it. And I thought about it. And I figured it out. And at the same time, she says, you're psychic. And he goes,
what are we, time travelers?
We're time travelers. Like, as if they were going to say it at the same time. Which psychic, that makes more sense. That's a pretty good conclusion. She's like, somehow you guys are psychic. But he goes, we're time travelers. And he goes, what? And she's like, what? No, you said time travelers. That's so cool. How do you do it?
So she knows.
She knows now. Fade to a football game. There's 6 seconds left in the football game, right? This is a big...
4th and goal for the state championship.
And they're town rivals.
Classic. This happens all the time in DCOM.
I don't think it's the state championship. I think it's to make it to playoffs, isn't it?
The coach mentions like winning state.
I think it's because they need to make it to state.
Okay. That would make sense. They're playing at their home.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah. I think he wants to make it to state. And so we have our gang, our 3 boys there to keep an eye out for kids being embarrassed. So that's why they're in the crowd. The coach calls a timeout for 6 seconds left. He takes Derek over to the side and he's trying to pep talk him. And actually what he does is just put a ton of pressure on him. He's like, hey, I really need to win.
The coach is not doing good.
I need to win so that my son will be proud of me. And we can go to state and my wife will love me or something. I don't know. And so what I'm really trying to say is, and Derek's like, be the ball? Yes, be the ball. And then Derek runs back out for the play. And Benji wanted to note that everybody was already lined up. And Derek didn't tell them a play.
This is a great little thing where it's just like they obviously did this for the staging of it all.
Yeah.
But like it's so clearly not a football thing at all. Every single player on the field is ready for the snap except the quarterback who jogs onto the field and just gets under center.
It's so funny. They don't know what play they're doing.
No one knows what play is going on.
Coach called a timeout to pull the quarterback aside and say, hey, don't fuck this up. Be the ball. And then they run out and do the play. I mean, they don't talk about what play they're doing or anything.
4th and goal.
That's hilarious. So they're about to do the play. But right as it starts, Chester runs on the field streaking. So he's in his underwear.
Yeah. Not nude because obviously that would just undo all the stuff except for the boing.
Yeah. Which is funny because originally that's what
started this all.
Because he's hung. We know this. So Derek is distracted by Chester that he gets sacked and the ball fumbles and the other team recovers it, so the game's over, which is stupid because there was only 6 seconds left anyway, so we didn't need it to also be a fumble. It didn't need to be a fumble.
We got told it was 4th down and there's 6 seconds left.
So it literally didn't matter that it fumbled.
But whatever.
It happens. Sometimes it happens.
It does happen.
So they lose. And Stephanie gets this look in her eyes of like...
I want to say Derek, he needed to be more focused. Having like... someone should have stopped because he really is just running next to the field.
He really had to do it in the last play of the game.
But also, B, if it's really this big play and stuff, you can't just be distracted by a crowd at all. You got to lock in.
No, he should have been way more locked in. Derek actually
But he didn't know the play, so...
That's true. He was just looking for any open player, like, please. Derek actually sucks at football.
Yeah.
It's kind of confirmed.
He can only do good when he's trying to hit boys in the head. When they're driving on a rocket car.
Boys in the head.
That's my favorite band.
That's what I was like kind of laughing at. It sounds like a band. Oh, okay. Cut to Derek and Stephanie talking to Virgil about time travel. He's like, oh, Virgil, you time travel. It's so cool. And then the little sister Amy comes down to be annoying. She's like, oh, Stephanie, good to see you. And oh, Derek, you're like the best football player ever, except that blown play yesterday. That was funny. So then Stephanie asks Virgil to help them redo the game.
Yeah.
And Derek's like, the dorks just don't know their place anymore.
I appreciate that the whole movie, Derek's just an asshole.
He is an asshole, but
they don't redeem him. They just are like, no, these
They like to pretend that he's sincere when what he's saying is actually just horrible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Virgil, he's like, we're the Minutemen. Like, you want the Minutemen to help? And they're like,
what? Who? No, we want the snowsuit
We want you guys. Who are the Minutemen? He's like, never mind. And then Derek says, come on, Verge. I really did try to stop him that day freshman year. They keep bringing it up as if like, oh, you're clearly not helping me because you're still mad about what happened, which I guess it's like the reason
that is if they're falling out. Yeah.
So he's like, I really did try to stop him that day. And I just want to go back to how we were before. Come on, man. And then they do their secret handshake and they go, Scorch. And Stephanie smiles. So they're in. They're doing it. So then Virgil tries to convince Charlie to do it. And Charlie's like, after everything he did to you, to us, also, I think, what we're doing could have a really bad side effects on the planet. And
Virgil's like, Charlie, stop being a pussy. Just do it. You're fine.
Virgil's like, well, what happened to Derek was our fault since Chester is so different now. And Jeanette is like, he has a point.
No, that is like, this is what it's like, everything is these unintended consequences. But that's also Charlie's point.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's like, it's kind of our fault. But Charlie's like, well, maybe we should stop fucking around with it. Also, we could destroy the planet. But they do it anyway. So they're about to go in the time machine. They make fun of Zeke's hook some more, his grappling hook. Virgil keeps a VHS tape in his jacket as they go back in time. We'll learn what that is. So they jump in. We don't see them go back in time this time. We stay with Jeanette. And she's looking at the newspaper that says, like, oh, they lose the football game. Mm-hmm. And it transforms to say they win the football game.
Wow, crazy. And so, yeah, this is more confirmation that Jeanette does know.
Yes.
Because they pop back and they're like, guys, you did it. You did it.
What I want to know...
how they did it?
No, because it says in the newspaper that they tackled Chester. What I want to know is they were at the football game. Do they... And they are, like, present for most of these. Do they see themselves as snowsuit guys? Or does their other selves disappear for
Based on the conclusion, I feel like their other selves generically disappear, but also based on the climax... Yeah. Their other selves don't disappear. So I think either argument is valid, but it wouldn't really matter in any case. Because their identities are hidden anyways.
And they're actively changing the past.
Yeah.
So it's not like they see themselves and they go, oh, we have to go and do that.
Yeah.
It's like they create an alternate timeline.
That's probably what it is. It's more alternate timelines, branching paths.
Yeah, it's just like there's one instance where they see their past selves, and that's the only time in the movie it happens. We never see their past selves and snowsuit selves in the same timeline ever, except for the climax of the movie. So that's confusing. But whatever, I'll stop reading into it. It's a DCOM. Okay, so Virgil shows Derek and Stephanie the tape of the original football game to be like, look, guys, I changed it. And they're like, oh, so since you had the tape with you the whole time, it's unchanged. So this is where
where the watch stuff becomes silly, but whatever.
The watch stuff becomes silly, and the Jeanette remembers what happened, but the Derek and Stephanie don't remember what happened because they weren't there when they time traveled.
This is also just not that important to have done.
Well, it's because
I guess
now
they need them to still remember that they have time
so that they invite Virgil back into their social group.
Yeah.
Which it was really smart of Virgil to do that, by the way.
He got his end goal.
Yeah. So they're like, this is crazy. You're the man, Virg. Derek says, I can't wait to tell the guys.
It's like, what? No.
They're like, no, don't. And he's like, all right, cool. But Virgil, you have to come to my party. And Virgil's like, oh, actually... I was going to watch this weather
I was going to watch the top 10 hailstorms of all time on the Weather Channel with Charlie.
And then he's like, I just realized how lame that sounds. I'll go to your party with you.
Which, I get it, but also, damn.
So now they're at the party. Virgil talks with Stephanie. Is this Stephanie and me again?
Stephanie and me.
Because I replaced all the stuff with Stephanie. Okay. Virgil talks with Stephanie, and they have cute banters always. Bingo. And he goes, guess you're going to the dance on Saturday. And Stephanie's like, yeah, I guess. We always go to every party and every social gathering. And Virgil's like, being popular seems so cool, though. And Stephanie's like, I don't know. I wonder if I chose the right path. You guys, you nerds, always look like you're having more fun. And Virgil's like, really? It always looks like you guys are having more fun.
I feel like Virgil has more of a point here.
Way more of a point.
We see everyone being actively bullied. We haven't really seen any of the nerds having fun.
I don't really get Stephanie's point. Like she's like, you guys are always laughing.
And this is what's supposed to be like the moral of the film.
I think she's just unhappy because she's with all these assholes, which is a valid point. Then Derek comes over and Virgil's like, oh, I just realized I never canceled with Charlie. He probably forgot about it. He actively chooses to not call Charlie, which is really shitty. And then Derek looks at Jocelyn all sexy like, as he always does. And then we see Charlie is across the street and he can see into Derek's house. Virgil is dancing at the party. Because remember, they're neighbors. Mm-hmm. So Charlie knows exactly what Virgil is up to and why he never showed up and never called. So then Charlie and Virgil on the phone, and Virgil says, how many times do I have to apologize?
212 times ought to do it. I'm sorry, 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 I'm sorry.
Benji is counting on his fingers right now as if that's gonna help.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
I don't think you're gonna remember how many times you went.
I'm at 30. I'm sorry, 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 sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Stop.
Okay, 45's better be good enough.
But
Kelsey, edit that in a few more times.
No. And then Charlie forgives Virgil anyway. He didn't even say sorry 212 times.
He didn't even say it really once. He said it like once.
Yeah. And then Charlie says, look, I'm just really frazzled. I'm worried about the time machine, possible ripple effects.
And Virgil's like, sorry, I got another call. Here, I'll tell them I'm going to hang up and I'll get right back to you.
Yeah, I'll get right back to you. And then he answers the other call and it's Stephanie and she's crying. And Virgil's like, oh my God, what's wrong? And Stephanie's like, And Virgil's like, I'll come right over, and hangs up the phone. And Charlie is just left on the line. And Virgil never calls him back.
Nope.
And Charlie later is like, you left me on hold all night, which like after 10 minutes I would have hung up.
Just be like, you can call me back.
Yeah.
But this is a different era of phones.
He can call him back. Whatever. Virgil shows up at Stephanie's house. He climbs up the balcony to try and be cute, I guess. She's like, you could have just used the door. But he says, what happened? And she says, I saw Derek kissing Jocelyn Lee.
Oh my God, Jocelyn Lee? No.
Jocelyn Lee. And so she's really sad. And Virgil's like, I know you really like pistachios, but I accidentally grabbed the wrong bag, so I have this pasta for you.
You hear some raw pasta and
she says, do you have any marinara sauce? And he's like, no, but she was just messing with him. I thought that part was cute.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, you're an amazing friend, Virg. And then Derek calls Stephanie and she's like, I'm going to take it. I have to end it once and for all. And Virgil says, good luck. And then he jumps off the balcony.
He just yeets?
Yeah. Cut to a black hole starting to form on the football field for like a second.
Also, this whole segment of him comforting her probably took like 10, 15 minutes total. I'm saying like getting there and everything.
Oh, right.
So he could just get back on his call and be like, I'm so sorry, Charlie.
He forgot about it.
Yeah.
But also he stopped at the convenience store to get pasta, don't forget. Okay.
I thought he got that from his pantry.
Oh, did he?
That's what I always interpret, because I thought it had like a rubber band around it.
I didn't think it had a rubber band, but it doesn't really matter. All right, so the NASA guys are reporting something to their boss. They're like, oh, we traced this to this high school. And also they're working with the FBI. So just in case you forgot about that stuff.
Yeah, officials are still on this.
Yeah. Zeke get some girls' interest. There's 2 girls that are like, hey, Zeke, you're hot.
Yeah, there's always 2 girls. He's somehow always in a threesome.
He got 2 girlfriends.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And they're into it. I would also like to point out, since the snowsuit guys aren't public or anything, this is just on his own natural charisma.
Yeah. Because now he's like hanging out with friends, and he's probably a little more social. Yeah. Derek and Virgil are talking. Derek's like, you just don't get what it's like to be insanely good looking and popular. That's exactly what he says. Like, I am so good looking and popular. Like, people expect me to play the field, cheat almost. But I didn't cheat. Jocelyn made the first move and kissed me, but I didn't kiss her back. Oh my God. I want you to go back in time and stop Stephanie from seeing us. So, okay. What he's saying is everyone just thinks I'm so hot and cool that they want me to, like, hit on all the girls, including Jocelyn. And she kissed me. Mm-hmm. And he says, don't stop Jocelyn from coming over. He says, stop Stephanie from seeing us. Yeah, no, that's like the biggest red flag of this whole movie. When Derek has shown so many, it's not don't stop the cheating from happening. It's don't stop the seeing. Yeah, it's because obviously he's lying. Yeah, he wants to smooch the girl. Yeah, and Virgil's like, but you hurt her. And Derek's like, yeah, but I feel awful. She's everything a guy could want. A guy like you. Hey, I like that the 3 of us have been hanging out again like the old days. And it can still be like that. And Virgil says, let me think about it. No. So Virgil has, like, his one incentive is, like, I've been gaining social capital being in this, like, threesome. Mm-hmm. And if Derek doesn't like you anymore, then you kind of... Then you're out of it. And also, another element of the threesome is Stephanie. I know. He likes the community. He likes what his childhood was. Yeah. So then Virgil's walking down the street, and he gets kidnapped by the FBI. They take him to some building where Charlie and Zeke are already there. Yeah, he's like, hey, I'm not a part of this, but I can give you the 2 names of the people who are, they're already here. He's like, I was never going to tell you guys. I was going to give them fake names, obviously. And they're like, yeah, whatever, Mr. Keep Me on hold all night. And then the dude comes in and he's like, we're funding, there was funding in the 60s for some projects, including time travel. And they're like, what? Time travel? That's crazy. And he's like, the project was then shut down and the files were untouched until somebody broke into them on a computer from this high school. And Charlie immediately stands up and starts to confess, but Zeke and I'm sorry. Yeah, they just pull him down. Like, shut up. We're lying to the police. We're not doing anything. For real. Virgil says, hey, if you're not charging us with anything, you can't keep us here. Yeah, I took government last semester. Got a B minus. So they're let go. And the FBI is like, we're going to let them go and watch them to get more information. You're like, isn't that kind of dumb? The guy's like, but now they know we're watching them. And he's like, I'll shut up. Yeah, the only reason this works is because Charlie comes back and tells them information. It was kind of a stupid plan, but, you know. Whatever. Everyone's in this movie's pretty dumb. So then outside, Charlie starts yelling at Virgil. He's like, this is your fault for using time travel for your own personal gain. And Zeke's like, yeah. And Virgil's like, Zeke, you benefited too. We gave you a life. Before us, you were a big guy everyone was afraid of. And Charlie's like, you're being mean, Virgil. Yeah. Which he is. He is. Which... Zeke is not enough of a character for him to be a part of this. It's not a good enough point of like, we became your friends. And like, that's not the same thing as you using the time travel for your personal gain. Yeah. It's not. Virgil says, Charlie, why don't you just go home to your computer and your cat? Virgil is being mean. And Charlie says, I will. Good luck at your new life as a popular person. And Zeke says, me too. I'm better off on my own. I exist too, but I don't have any plot. Yeah. So that night, Charlie's running some data. Virgil gets a call from Derek, and Derek's like, "Are you gonna help me?" And Virgil's like, "Yeah, why not?" Derek. Virgil's like, "Yeah, why not? I'll help you." I think it's mostly because he's mad at Charlie.
Yeah, it's because they're fighting, and it's
yeah. Next morning, Jeanette is in Charlie's room watching him sleep.
Yeah, Charlie set something up during the night.
Yeah. To run some data, and Jeanette, I think she like sits on his bed and starts like bouncing to wake him up.
Yeah, Charlie's mom let him in.
Yeah,
confirmation there is parents in this movie.
True. And she's like, "Oh, good morning." What bird does she say?
I don't know.
Puffin, maybe. She says Puffin at some point. More Puffin. Cockatoo. So she wakes him up, and the computer beeps, and he goes, "Oh no, this is bad. We created a black hole."
Minutemen, watch it at 6 Central, only
Good
on
job.
Disney Channel.
You nailed it.
We created a black hole.
Black hole. Cut to NASA doing some research presentation or something, and Charlie storms in, and he's like, "Hey, I stole the formula, and man, we've been time traveling all over the place." And they're like, "Way ahead of you, Charlie.
We know what's going on.
Here are some doctors that do research." And he goes, "So you guys already know about the black hole?" And they're like,
What?
And he goes, "The black hole? Oh, I knew you guys were underfunded, but come on."
Good shot at NASA.
And they're like, "We did many calculations and we never came up with a black hole." And Charlie just grabs the paper, looks at it for 3 seconds, and says, "I see 5 decimals that are not carried over." And they're like, "Oh, haha." So Charlie just goes up to the screen and starts presenting, and he's showing these assholes up like he's a genius. And he's like, "Here, we're going to create a black hole, and it's going to engulf the whole country, and so on." So it's going to like engulf the world. We have less than 4 hours until the end of the world. There may be a way to reverse it, but it's a long shot. And they're like, "Yes, sir, whatever you say."
They're all like, "Okay, apparently you know a bunch more about this than we do. We'll trust the fact that there's a black hole."
Yeah. So the black hole appears again, but nobody sees it because it's only there for a second and then it goes away. And they're walking across a football field, and they're all dressed up in their like 60s gear because that's the theme of the dance. And everybody's really cute and into the theme.
Yeah. Again,
It's really cute.
Back to the Future.
Stephanie and Virgil go to the dance together, and Derek asks Virgil if it's all set, and he's like, "Yep, I'll go." Cool, we'll go.
We're gonna go do all this stuff.
We'll go when they announce the winners. And then Virgil talks with Stephanie, and he says, "Do you believe that a person's life can change in a single moment?" And she's like, "I guess." He says, "There's a moment that's about to change, and I don't know if it's for better or worse." And Stephanie's like, "I'm not following." But then the vice principal gets on stage to announce King and Queen of the dance. He just says King and Queen of the dance. It's not a specific like homecoming.
It's not a specific dance.
King and Queen of the dance.
But first, let me do an Elvis impression.
Yeah, and then he does an Elvis impression, and it doesn't land. And he's like, "Whatever. The winners are Virgil and Stephanie. Come up and get your crown." And she's like, "Whoa, what? Did you do this?" And Virgil's like, "Yeah, I time traveled and stuffed the ballot boxes," which is so stupid because you did not need to time travel to stuff a ballot box.
Maybe they took it all away days ago.
He's like, "Oh, it's locked up, but it was unlocked a day ago."
Time travel.
Well, he would have done it off screen.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking. I don't think he. My take is he just normally stuffed it.
Oh, and he just lied to her and said, "I time traveled," because it's like the cool thing that he does.
That's my take. I'm not putting that in the list of uses of time travel.
Good, you shouldn't. It was stupid. So they're given crowns and they start a slow dance. And Stephanie tells Virgil that she would have voted for him anyway.
Aww.
And they're dancing. And she's like, "This is weird." And he's like, "It's weird." And she's like, "A good weird. How you can be friends with someone for so long and then it's different. A good different." And then they're about to kiss. But Derek comes over and he pulls Virgil away. And Virgil's like, "Wait, no, I changed my mind." And Derek's like, "But you promised."
And he's like, "Oh, I guess a promise you have to keep."
And so Derek's just basically not letting him speak and dragging him along. And people were like, "Yo, those two are going to fight." And they start following.
Fight.
Yeah. So then cut to Charlie. He runs in looking for Virgil, and Stephanie's like, he went off with Derek. And Charlie's like, to go back in time? And Stephanie's like, oh my God, that's totally what he's gonna do. And Charlie goes, oh no, he might make things worse. And he runs off, and Jeanette looks at Stephanie and says, worse than the end of the world?
Yeah, because he's like the ending.
Like the world's already ending, yeah. And she's like, how could it possibly get worse?
It's just a rare moment of just like, this is kind of stupid, right?
Yeah. So then Virgil's like, Derek, I can't do this. And Derek says, don't tell me you're going to try and steal my girl. I feel like that was also the trailer because I really remember that line. Don't tell me you're going to steal my girl. We're friends. Friends don't do that to each other. And then Charlie comes over and he's like, we need to save the planet. And then the crowd shows up along with the vice principal. And the vice principal's like,
No.
This is the beginning of a fracas.
And everyone's like, what the fuck is a fracas?
And Zeke goes, a fracas is a fight.
Thank you, Zeke. Thank you for introducing yourself. And he's clearly taller than everyone else in this room.
So true. And the vice principal's like, all right, go back to the gym, move. But then he says, everybody move. And then we hear, everybody freeze, FBI. And then another guy comes in, CIA. And then another guy runs in, Bureau of Weights and Measures. And he's like flipping his little
literally
card
got
around.
A business card, not a badge or anything.
And Virgil's like, in the future, you should go first.
This is just like such a dumb little gag.
It was
to add
funny.
To this. It's good.
It was good. That was a good
This movie
gag.
doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah. And then the black hole forms on the football field, and everybody goes outside to look. Down at the time machine, everybody's there, and it's chaos. Charlie says they have to go inside the black hole to close it. They're going to use a remote pack to reverse it that Charlie's been working on.
Yeah, there's a bunch of little MacGuffin stuff of like, this is how it's going to work.
Yeah.
We're going to jump in a black hole, and then we'll be good eventually.
They jump in the black hole. What would happen if the black hole just engulfs the world? Would everybody go back to that day?
Seems
and then
like
there'd be double of everybody.
And there wouldn't be a way to get back.
There wouldn't be a way to get back. And everybody could hang out with their past self from 3 years ago. But then
it would be a time loop, and eventually the universe would eat itself.
Really?
Yes, that's kind of the black hole theory, but that's the take I was taking.
Okay.
I mean, black holes, if we trust them at their word, the whole Earth would be dead within an hour. Oh. It would be quicker than that, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
Black holes are scary.
Dang. Virgil's like, I'll go alone. They had nothing to do with it. And Charlie's like, I invented it. What do you mean I had nothing to do with it? I invented it. And Virgil's like, I helped. And Charlie's like, you painted it. Which I thought was funny. They're like bantering. And FBI's like, enough. You're both going to go. And Zeke says, you'll need me too, sir.
And my hook. Remember the grappling hook? That's going to come in handy.
You need me and my hook. And so the black hole gets bigger and bigger. People are standing right on the edge of it. Do you think one of the bullies would like push someone in as a joke? They're standing right on the edge of it.
I hope not.
I hope not.
That's just murder.
That's
not really a joke.
Haha, funny, and then they get arrested.
For murder. For literal homicide.
They wouldn't be murdered yet. They would be 3 years in the past.
I think you could get charged for murder for that.
But sir, we can't prove that they're dead. Where's the body?
You don't need a body.
And then you see them 3 years older and they're like, fuck you.
You push them in again. Well, I've been going through multiple times.
I've been waiting 3 years.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. Okay, the boys walk down the hall in their snowsuits, really cool and heroic like, and everybody's cheering for them. And Charlie says, we don't know how long like it's gonna stay open or what time we're gonna be at. Like, we just don't know what we're jumping into, basically. Zeke gets hugged goodbye by his 2 girlfriends. Pretty fun. Virgil's little sister is there, and she's like, "Can I have your room if you die?" Where are the parents?
They don't care.
Jeanette comes over and kisses Charlie goodbye, like on the lips, and he's frozen in shock. So they carry him away.
Zeke just picks him up.
Yeah, it was cute though.
Yeah, it's a whole thing where it's like, I'm slightly weirded out the whole time because they keep trying to push this relationship on Charlie, but it's also clear enough that he wants it.
Yeah, it's by the end of it, yeah. And it's just like cute little crush. Like it's pretty harmless, I think. Mm-hmm. So then Stephanie's outside, and Virgil's about to like tell her something, but Derek interrupts, so he doesn't get to say it. And she says, "Just be careful." And the crowd goes, "Minutemen, Minutemen."
Oh my God, they got the name right.
Finally.
Who told them?
And then the cops open up some yellow tape. Finally, they put some yellow tape to back people up. After that one guy got pushed in, they're like, "We need to put some yellow tape in." And then the boys jump in the black hole, and they land in a park. And some kids see them fall, and there's one annoying kid, and you go, "Whoa, spacemen," and whatever. And we learn they're just across town at the park. They set up the little machine, and Charlie goes boop, boop, boop. Oh my God, it worked. Yay, we did it. Like, it's that easy. It's because we need a different emotional climax as opposed to the machine doing stuff. So he just goes boop, boop, boop. Yay, we did it. Woo! We have 20 minutes until the vortex touches the ground, and then we can jump in and go back. And Virgil looks at the newspaper, and he's like, "Guys, it's the first day of school freshman year. That means it's the day
of the incident."
And so he starts running. And also Charlie mentions like, "Oh yeah, because that's the first time that my rocket car like interacted with the world."
Yeah, there's actually a better lore explanation than you'd expect, which is just like, oh yeah, his car, which was part of the whole invention of time travel, well, that was his first time activating it.
Yeah. So
what they don't explain is where these kids go in 20 minutes. And if any of these kids get dragged into the future. I think the
parents take them away. Because there's like a giant vortex.
Would there be like notes in the news of, oh, there's a giant vortex?
I don't know. Okay, so Virgil goes running off. And he ends up at the football field, and he says, "Don't do it, Virgil." So they can see their past selves. This is the one time they can see their past selves. Which we already talked about how weird that is. Zeke and Charlie show up. And they're like, "Virgil, stop." And then Charlie says, "You're really going to stop what's going on?" And Virgil says, "Yeah, that's what we do, right? We stop mistakes." And Charlie says, "All right, but know this. What happened down there is we became friends.
Aww.
This day that you hate so much because you got a little embarrassed, this is my favorite day. Even though I'm a nerd, it doesn't matter because I have a real friend. And they'll make everything okay. So much for always." And then while he's giving this monologue, we see the events play out down, which I thought was good filmmaking and story making. Like, you can see it start to happen as Charlie talks about how important this was in his life. So, yeah, this movie rocks.
Can you tell Kelsey likes this film? I do too, but I feel like Kelsey's more outward about it now.
I am. And then Charlie leaves. And Zeke says, "Do what you have to do. And if things aren't the same on the other side, it's been a good ride." And then...
Okay, Zeke.
And then Virgil looks down. And so Virgil and Charlie down there have already been taken away. And Virgil looks down and he sees Derek.
I'd like to point out they're already past the point where
he could have done something. No, it's way too late. What was he going to do? "It's me, Virgil, 3 years older. Stop it." And then Virgil sees Derek. And Derek is not saying, "Hey guys, stop." He says, "Why don't we put this lipstick on them?"
Oh my God, Derek wasn't being helpful
this whole time. We've been told multiple times that Derek tried to stop them, and it was a lie.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can't tell you if this worked or not, because when you've seen it before, it's like you knew it was happening. Yeah. It's not a surprise.
Yeah. And then as Zeke and Charlie are walking back, Charlie gets a little beep beep on his little computer thing that shows the vortex is like in overdrive now. So they're running out of time to go jump in it. And if they don't go to it in time, they're going to be stuck here. So they start like running, and he's like, what about Virgil? We don't have time to go get Virgil. And then they're running, and Charlie falls, and Zeke's like, get up, we have to keep moving. And Charlie says, it's no use, we'll never make it, we're a mile away. But then Virgil shows up in the rocket car.
Dang.
And he's like, hey, better watch out, there's some kids being bullied back there. At first I felt sorry for the kid, and then I realized, what does he need me for? He's got himself a great friend down there.
Aww.
And someday he'll have another great friend.
Yeah, it's so awkward. Like they need Zeke because the dynamic is better with 3.
It is better
and
with
Zeke's
3.
so fun, but it feels like they cut out an entire plot.
Yeah. I know, I wish we had more Zeke. And then they do the handshake, and they do it right. He says, Scorch.
Oh my god.
And then Virgil says, we should come up with our own thing. Which he should have done in the beginning.
But he's been the whole time viewing this as just a replacement.
Yeah. And then Zeke's like, all right, let's go so we don't have to repeat the last 3 years of high school. So my question is, which we've already kind of talked about this, what would happen if they didn't make it? Would they be here for 3 years? And we know that their past selves also exist in this timeline.
My take, because them doing the machine fixed the future.
Yes.
My take is they would be there for 3 years. The black hole would happen again. And at that point, they could jump back.
They could jump back or just wait it out?
I guess wait it out is more.
Wait it out because then their past selves would jump in and then they'd be like,
but it also could be 2
"We're
separate
here."
timelines, but that also doesn't fully matter. So maybe in the present timeline, everyone would just presume they were dead. But in the current timeline, there just would be multiple of them. That's maybe more accurately what it is.
Well, no, because their past selves would still, if we're assuming everything happens the same way, their past selves would jump into the black hole and it would be a time loop. Because they're always going to jump into the black hole and wait 3 years and then jump in again.
Yeah, but for 3 years, there is two sets of them. There's always sets of them. There's just ones that repeat, like Virgil's age 17, 18, 19.
Yeah, so what would happen is they jump into the black hole closes, and then they appear from the corner 3 years older and say, hey guys, we did it.
Yep. And they can just take the life. They
wait. They're waiting behind the corner, like, did they?
But in this original universe, they're presumed dead.
So in their original timeline, they're gone forever. But they're in.
But in every other timeline, it's just like the infinite hotel paradox, where you just keep replacing it, and it's just like we lost 3 years of our life, but it's fine.
Anyway, this doesn't happen. They race off to the vortex. They drive through a flower shop. It's like crazy rocket car shenanigans.
Yeah. And oh no, they missed a turn.
Oh my god, that's the wrong turn. We won't make it. And Zeke's like, no problem. And he whips out his grappling hook and he throws it on an already existing roundabout.
Yeah. They could have just turned without it.
They could have just turned in the roundabout and done it. But apparently the grappling hook makes him go faster. It's not like he whipped around just a regular street and it helped them turn. Like, they're in a roundabout.
There's so many better ways to use a grappling hook. This is a dumb one.
It is a dumb way to use the grappling hook. What if he, lassoed the vortex to them with the grappling hook?
That would have been cool.
That would have been sick as hell, actually. It probably wouldn't have made much sense, but it would have been better than grappling around a roundabout. But, yeah, he does it, and they go, yeah, grappling hook. And they go to the vortex, and Charlie keeps going, we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. And Virgil, who's driving, floors it harder as if he wasn't already flooring it. Mm-hmm. And he goes, Minutemen rule. And then they make it through the vortex. And they end up on the football field during the day.
Yep.
And kids are running around the track during gym class.
Long story short, they're back on the first day that they time traveled.
Yeah. And he's like, what about my rocket car? And a wheel comes in, smoking. So it's destroyed, I guess. Mm-hmm. They're like, what day is it? Oh, yeah, it's the first day we time traveled. And Zeke goes, no more time travel.
That's it. We're done.
We're done. And the gym teacher comes over and he's like, hey, you guys have to start jogging. Get to it. So they just start awkwardly jogging in their snowsuits. I thought that was funny.
And the gym teacher's like, man, I gotta get myself one of those sick ass jogging suits.
Yeah. So then they walk into the school and they run into the vice principal. They're like, uh-oh. But he doesn't know about the snowsuit guys yet. So he's just like rolls his eyes and leaves. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. We're not in trouble. And they go to the library and they see Stephanie talking to Derek when she calls him a cheese brain. So they're like, oh, this is the first day we time traveled. That's where we are. So I guess they replaced their past selves now. Yeah. Because we don't
That's the only explanation that makes works. Because we also get basically told... Virgil's like, hey, have you seen me?
Yeah, and she says like, no. So he would have been there in this timeline. So I think they just replaced him somehow. Which, okay, time travel magic.
Sure, we need to accept some stuff. It's time
the
travel.
End of the movie. Like,
let's just accept it.
We can't get into craziness of it. It's just like, hey, they're back. It's like the time travel never happened. Although they remember everything that happened, but nobody else does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've lived a full life.
Yeah. Derek walks by and he's like, nice outfits, bozos. And Virgil says, hey, Derek, have fun with Jocelyn. I figure you're both so good with lipstick. You're the perfect match.
I'd like to point out, that's like the type of line you think of in the shower 2 days after like an interaction.
He's had like 15 minutes to think about it.
Yeah. he really had a good line there.
Yeah, he did. And Derek says, you know what? You were always going to be a dork, Virgil. And Virgil says, and you were always going to be a jerk, Derek. Have a nice life.
Yeah, see, Derek just immediately gives up the whole stick of, we could be friends.
Because, like, in this timeline, he never really had those conversations yet.
Yeah.
Like, he just knows now that Virgil knows he never tried to help him. And he's like, whatever. You were going to be a dork. And he's like, and you're an asshole. Bye. And then he sees Stephanie, walks over. And Zeke sees his lady friends in the library.
Who are there not dating yet.
They're not dating yet, but he's like, I know how to rinse this up.
He's like, I know that these two are in and freaky with each other.
I know that they're looking for one really tall boyfriend to share.
2 girls, 1 guy, same combined height.
Yeah. And then Jeanette's there. And she sees Charlie and she says, what's new, cockatoo? Oh, you look like a superhero. And Charlie says, thanks, pumpkin. And then he kisses her. And Zeke comes over and he's like, dude, you haven't kissed her yet. Like, that hasn't happened. And Charlie's like, oh, no. Oh, Jeanette. No. He goes, I'm sorry, Jeanette. Because she's, like, freaked out and walks away. But then as she's walking away, you see that she smiles.
She's happy, which obviously she's more obsessed with him than like any.
It was just, like, really off.
Creepy crush? I'm in.
Takes her off guard, but, like, she's overall happy with it. So I think it's really cute. Because he's just like, oh shoot, no, I'm sorry. And then Zeke goes, hey, it's okay. Like, it's all right, man. You're gonna be fine. And now Virgil goes to talk to Stephanie. And he's like, did you see me earlier? And she's like, no, what's with the weird suit? And I'm like, why didn't they just take them off? Don't they have clothes underneath?
I don't know. Where would they put them?
Anywhere. Virgil's like, oh, I'm just doing a school play about time travel. Okay. Hey, if I could really go back in time, what would I change? Like, let's ponder this question. He says, I would tell Stephanie how I really feel about her, that I think she's great. And Stephanie says, and if I could go back, I think I'd tell Virgil the same thing.
She's still dating Derek.
Yeah, but she likes Virgil more. And he's like being really honest and cute about how he feels. So yeah. And then Charlie runs out and he's like, hey, Virgil, what does teleportation mean to you? It's bigger than time travel.
No, it's not, but also teleportation would be sick as hell.
It would be sick as hell. And then they're like trying to shut him up. And he's like, Stephanie, we'll talk later. And then him and Zeke drag Charlie away. And he's like, wait, Stephanie, we're time travelers. Virgil likes you. As they're dragging him away, and it's the end. So, like, they needed a little zinger at the end. Yeah. I can't believe Charlie immediately is like, but what if we teleport? Mm-hmm. That would be insane. So it's the end. And...
well, we do get a little fun in the credits.
Yeah, in the credits, they're like, it was down when they were at the time machine and the chaos happening with the black hole. Music starts playing and they all just start dancing, which is cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of the actors, all of the adults and everything. It's like a weirdly choreographed dance.
Yeah.
It's
fun.
It was
really cute. And that's Minutemen.
Yeah, not much more to say other than it was good. We all enjoyed it.
I love this movie. I think, and I said it before, the writing is really good, especially compared to other DCOMs.
This is one of the best scripts a DCOM has had.
Way better than Dad Napped. Like,
it's...
They cooked with this one.
And there's stuff that I would change, but like, generally, this is one that I think there's the least amount of stuff that I would change. There's... Yeah. Anything that I have is wrong with is really nitpicky. It's about as executed as well as I can hope that it would be. The only reason it's not like my top DCOM is there's others that feel more special. But
that's fair.
This is just really good.
It's just a good movie. It helps that I grew up with it, but I think it just genuinely is good. And the cast knocks it out of the park. I think the casting was great. The story is good. The humor is good. Mm-hmm. It didn't like... They wrapped everything up decently enough. Like, it's hard with time travel because there's always going to be confusing stuff with time travel. But for what they did, it was really good. And they didn't leave it open for a sequel, which a sequel would be unnecessary. So that's totally fine. That didn't happen. And it just lands. It hits. It's well made.
It's good.
So, yay. Yeah. Happy we finally got to talk about it.
Jane House ranked it 34th.
Which is pretty good. BenG,
I ranked it 36. I'm guessing that number will get better. Mainly, I had a hard time. This was one of the earliest ones we watched as a house, which those were the hardest to rank because sometimes your brain has a harder time comparing stuff that you saw 2 years ago to something you saw a month ago.
Yeah.
And I think I just needed to be reminded, like, no, it is a part of that, like, high A tier.
It is good. I have it at 18.
That feels more accurate to where we're going to
because it's really good. Yeah, I have it in A tier.
It's good.
Where did you have it? Like B tier?
No, I had an A tier.
Oh, you just had it low A tier.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have it pretty high A tier. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yay, Minutemen.
Minutemen.
It's super fun.
Before we go, here are the...
Oh, yes.
Here are all the crimes they fixed.
Yeah.
I guess I could also say going to do the lottery, but that... Whatever. We're not talking about every time. We're talking about crimes that they were considering as the Minutemen. Chester's clothes. Pretty bad. Good job going back to save it.
Yeah.
Eugene falling in the restaurant. Not really that bad, but also, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like... Yeah, that one was less necessary, but it helped him.
The girl who fell asleep on her desk. No. That's her own fault.
Well, we just assume that, like, she was bullied for it later.
Yeah. That she drooled on her desk.
But yeah, that's very
That's your own fault.
Don't fall asleep.
Getting the boy out of the vending machine.
That was nice.
Yeah. But also, you didn't stop the cause. You just stopped him being made fun of. Yeah. You just got him out.
They did it right before the bell rang, so nobody saw him in the vending machine.
Getting the toilet seat cover off a guy's butt. Sorry, you made your own mistake, though. How did he have a full toilet seat cover outside of his jeans?
They're saving him from embarrassment.
I agree, but think about it for a second. How do you have a full toilet seat cover attached to your jean bottoms, like not inside?
As he was pulling up his pants, it got hooked on it.
And he didn't think, oh, where's that when I flushed it down? Because that's what you're supposed to do. I'm saying it's his fault.
Okay, that doesn't mean he shouldn't be helped. BenG. And then they helped Stephanie not break her leg.
Yep, that one I get. Especially that's so little her fault that she got kicked by a hacky
sack. And then they fixed the football game, too.
They fixed the football game.
And
I get that a bit more, but also I'm like less sympathetic to Derek because he could have just not paid attention.
No, that one was stupid.
And then we have the Derek cheating scandal.
But that never happened.
Yeah, but if it did, it would clearly be the least justified one.
Okay, yeah, that one would have been the stupidest one.
And then the incident,
which they didn't fix either. So I feel like, the football game and helping Derek win. That was stupid because Derek should just be a better football player.
Mm-hmm.
But they help the school too. They help the whole football team.
Yeah. No, I think the football game is better than like the girl on the desk or the toilet seat cover.
Yeah.
Where those are, yes, embarrassing, but like those are mistakes that were self-made.
The best one they did was probably helping Stephanie not break her leg.
Yeah, either that or Chester's clothes. Because both of those are like
both of those are
pretty
the best ones.
brutal.
Yeah, but like you're literally saving Stephanie from like bodily harm.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the best one.
That's the best one. And then Chester, because they like exposed his huge dong in front of the whole school.
Boing. All right. Yeah. I think we've been talking long enough.
If you have thoughts on Minutemen, email us at thedcomdo@gmail.com.
Follow our TikTok, our YouTube, our Spotify, our Apple Podcasts.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Now is the time when we spin our wheel of DCOMs.
Our wonderful wheel of DCOMs.
And we decide what we're going to watch next. So, BenG, what do you think it's going to be?
Go figure.
Oh, that's a fun one. I think it's going to be Smart House.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
All right, spinning the wheel.
Da, 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 da.
Oh, okay. It's Den Brother.
Den Brother.
Okay. We're keeping in this, like, that kind of era where it feels kind of recent, even though it's not. Like High School Musical 2, Minutemen,
our later childhood.
Yeah, our later childhood.
Den Brother is a film that I think we collectively like more than the society.
It was crazy. I'd only watched it one time, and it was when we were doing the marathon. I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm excited to go back.
And I hope it's the same.
Yeah, see if I'm once again pleasantly surprised, because I really thought I was going to go in and not like it, and I did kind of like it. So, exciting. Tune in 2 weeks for us to talk about Den Brother.
All right, see ya.
Goodbye. Scenes from our next episode.
Why do I have to be your Girl Scout leader? All I want to do is play hockey.
I love hockey.
I'm going to dress up as a girl and play hockey.
Did that happen?
He at least dressed up as like a Girl Scout leader and jumped on the ice because he was on some sort of probation for playing hockey. It's a weird plot.
Yeah, he does pretend to be a girl so he could be their leader, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's just fully a drag movie.
I feel like I don't remember anything that happens. Other than it was actually kind of funny.
And it's bad, but in the way we like it being bad. Yeah. That's what I remember.
Yeah. We're Girl Scouts and hockey. Yeah.
They were definitely in a shopping mall at one point.
Why wouldn't they?
I would lock that in $500 on it.
Tune in to see BenG give himself $500.
Let's go!